It's about time.
We are
Before
live.
you start.
Jesus. Okay, sorry everybody for running late. We had some serious technical difficulties, but for all you new listeners who this is the first time you guys tuned into a Fight We're Friends. It's basically our version of the Fight Companion podcast made famous by Joe Rogan. We sit around, watch the fights, and we barely talk about them.
This is true, yes.
But sorry about the delay. We just had a bunch of issues with the mixer. I think it's been a long time since I've done one of these, and I haven't checked all the inputs on the mixer and had some issues with them. But we're live, and we still have plenty of time to get drunk and probably make some jokes that we'll regret in the morning. So
very true.
So let's do the traditional toast. Let's pick something to drink. I'm gonna do oh, that sounded nice. This is Woodford Reserve, the malt. I don't think you guys have tried this yet. It's their malt whiskey. We'll pour this.
Take some more, please.
It's some Blue Label. I actually had this on my bar forever, and at Christmas time, I wanted to bring something over some relative's house, and I'm like, it's just Woodford. I'll just bring it and see if anybody wants it. And I didn't think anything of it, and then we opened it, and it was delicious. So
it was a big hit with everybody.
Yeah. So anybody else want some? You're just doing coffee for now?
Yeah, I mean, I've got cold medicine in me, but what's wrong with mixing whiskey and
you want to put some in your
purple
coffee?
drink? Yeah.
That's very Irish, right? Putting it in that's
yeah,
Irish coffee.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do it up a little bit.
All right, that's fucking disgusting.
You never had an Irish coffee?
No, I don't fuck with that.
Really?
It
I
doesn't
worked
taste
for
good.
a guy that this is all he drank.
So let me know if you guys can hear us, if you can't hear us, and all that good stuff. So right now, just to let you know who's fighting. To be honest, we don't even know because honestly, outside of, I'm sure by now you guys know the Whitaker and Kelvin fight has been canceled, and really this undercard was a little weak outside of that. So that's a little disappointing, but we're all married and most of us have kids. So this is just a reason to get together, hang out, watch the fights, and probably get a little tipsy.
Right. I mean, the strength of this card was the top two fights. So it's Whitaker, and then it's the Silva fight, of course. So
I kind of felt bad for Anderson Silva because I kept thinking like they're just sending him off to the wolves to like basically just so this style bender can make a name for himself.
Yes.
But you guys were talking about it before while I was trying to fix the studio issues. He might have a chance, and I mean he still is the greatest of all time. It's hard to argue because even though McGregor, when he went on his run and he made a name for himself, he looked really good, but he really didn't have that many fights.
No, he did not. No, and Anderson Silva went like
he defended
16
his
in a
belt.
row.
Yeah,
exactly. Cleaned out his division, and he beat guys in other weight classes along the way pretty convincingly. So,
and everybody always says harder than getting the belt is defending the belt, and Anderson Silva did that over and over and over again.
Right. And he was able to do things in the cage that people hadn't seen, that level of counter striking. They hadn't seen a guy who could knock people out with a jab, who could knock people out with, strikes that didn't look like they had that much on him. And he was making people look stupid. I mean, if you watch the Forrest Griffin fight, it was
ridiculous. Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Like, he didn't have any momentum going forward. He was like leaning back and just went over. It was almost like one of those old like Chuck Liddell knockouts. Where you're like, how did that knock him out?
Yes,
Chuck Liddell would come over the top and like, you're like, how do you find power in that? In that hook or whatever. And I mean, that's what makes some of these guys great. I mean, you just see them. And when Anderson Silva was dominating, the way he was humiliating very good fighters was just crazy. I mean, everybody got excited about an Anderson Silva fight because you knew that, it was one of those things where you wonder how long he could keep winning. Yeah. But the other thing too is just like you wonder if anybody even stood a chance against him.
Yeah, and the intimidation factor was real. Towards the end of his run, you could see fighters in the cage getting psyched out. You could see guys, their will breaking. Again, I'll reference the Forrest Griffin fight. Towards the end of that fight, you saw I thought I saw Griffin's will break.
And then he ran out of the ring.
Yes, he was defeated. Like he had realized, there is another level to this, and I'm not on that level, So I think when people watch Anderson Silva fight now, they're just hoping that he can recapture, they can see a glimpse of that. The guy's 43 years old, and we were saying, Ben and I were talking about this before the fight, before we started broadcasting, like, at one point this week, I had heard that Anderson Silva was a plus 700 in this fight, meaning he was a heavy underdog going in to tonight. So everybody, like you said, Ricky, is expecting Silva just to get fed to the wolves, as a way to promote the last style bender, which is a freaking crazy nickname.
I think the last podcast we did, it was us four. It was sometime last year. I don't know if it was March or May or whenever. Yeah, it was a long time ago. And a lot's happened since then. I mean, you look at you had McGregor against Khabib. Have you heard all the rumors recently? There's some, not to get all conspiratorial so early on the show.
Let's hear it.
Not to get all Eddie Bravo on you guys. But one is there's a rape charge, which isn't that hard to believe.
For McGregor?
Yeah.
And a child.
And a child in Liverpool. Yeah. So he has this, and the chick has, sorry, all you feminists who are upset about me calling her the chick, but this chick has this chick has pictures with McGregor and taking selfies in a bathroom. So it's, I mean, they definitely hung out. And when you see the way she's dressed and it looks like it's a bathroom pic, late at night at a hotel, after party type thing. They both look like they're a little buzzed. It's not hard to believe they probably hooked up.
Well, I mean, the dude walks around with a boner all the time, so.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you're going to tell me that a pro fighter has, or a pro athlete in general has a secret family, or a bunch of kids from different women, that ain't going to surprise me. I mean, McGregor's one of the biggest stars in the world. I would expect that he would have women all over the place.
Yeah. It'd be disappointing if he didn't.
Yeah, I mean. Every time I see these guys getting, they do the pre-fight run-up and they talk about how much they're into their families and stuff like that. And of course, those are nice stories, but I roll my eyes a little bit because professional
some of these
athletes
guys
live
are
a
like
different
that.
lifestyle.
I think so. I think when you get to the extreme popularity of McGregor, it makes it uniquely hard because you literally have, I mean, even if you have girls who aren't UFC fans, they know who McGregor is, which means everywhere you go, there's girls who want to take pictures with you just because you're famous, want to sleep with you just because you're famous. Yes. They want to hook up with you. They want to, her story, the Liverpool girl was talking about how she asked him if he had, don't you have a girlfriend? And he's like, oh, we're off and on. No. It's first of all, every guy says that. Second of all, the fact that you even think he'd be honest with you in the heat of the moment is ridiculous. So don't act like, you just kind of took his word for it and that's why you went along with it, that you wouldn't have done it if you knew he had a kid and was married or whatnot. I mean, if you know who he is, you probably know a little bit about the fact that he's been with the same chick forever.
Yeah, I think professional athletes in general just live a different lifestyle. So that's just part of their lifestyle.
Could you tap her out with that?
Oh, yeah.
Talking.
That's a triangle.
Going back to the actual fights, De La Rosa has this girl in a deep armbar.
All right, so if you guys are wondering where we are in these fights, La Rosa has a armbar.
Kasim, in a triangle.
310 in the second round.
Yeah,
310, and all Scott cares about is their booties.
Now that's transitioning to a regular triangle.
I don't look at that.
A married man.
This fight's going exactly, I think. How
once I get married, I turn gay outside my wife. And actually, last time we did one of these podcasts, Vinny announced that he was having another baby, and he had it.
Yep. Amelia Claire Cardona arrived October 29th last fall.
ACC.
For all the listeners who I'm sure care deeply about that.
And last fall. So how old is she?
She's 3 months. That's my third. So I think I'm done. If somebody wants to kick me in the balls after this,
I think I'm done, but
no problem.
Yep.
Fight's over. De La Rosa won by armbar. Back to everything important.
Yeah, this fight, I think, went how everybody thought it was going to go, which is, Kasim just not ready for that level of grappling. So, I mean, she styled on her. Transition from triangle back to armbar, back to triangle, back to armbar. I mean, that's, she dominated her on the ground.
So how much harder is it with 3 kids compared to 2?
It's not. I don't think it's that much harder because, especially when you have them close together, because you just go into autopilot. Why
are you looking at me like that, Ben?
Why are you asking that question?
Yeah, why are you looking?
Well, I don't know if Gina was pregnant for a little bit. We ended up losing the baby, but we almost had her. Yeah, no, sorry to give you guys a downer so early in the podcast, but it was early in the pregnancy, but that's one thing that popped in my head a lot when she first got pregnant. I'm like, Jesus Christ, how much harder. But it's the same thing when you have one and then you're afraid of having two. You think it's going to be much more work. And in some cases, it's actually easier because the kids play together.
Yeah.
I think
Agreed.
the first 6 to 9 months when it's all the diaper changing and they need to be held all the time, it's difficult no matter what. But once you get past that, they probably are going to spend a lot of time together. There's 3 of them. They can keep each other entertained a little bit more. When you only have one child, and you guys know, because obviously you didn't have twins, you had one at some point in your life, they require your attention all the time. And the second you have a second one, now they require your attention a little less because they have somebody to play with. So I think that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, it's just a money thing at this point. I mean, everything we need. You go into sort of, again, when you have them so close together, it's not like I have to
how old are your
knock
other
off
two?
any rust or anything. I have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and this one's 3 months. So it's,
Oh, so your kids are the same age? Yeah, because my daughter's turning 3, my son's turning 4 in a couple weeks. So, but
right. So it's not like it's been that long since you've changed a diaper or done any of that stuff. So it's just not that. It's a money thing at this point, and that's about it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's too late for me. I'm done.
Well, your daughters are grown women.
Pretty much.
Yep.
She's gonna be going into high school next year, I think.
She will be?
I think so. Or the year after, whatever. I don't know.
You got to work on that your intimidation face and how tough you got to look, and
hopefully your wife's
scaring
not
the
listening.
crap out of
your gun cleaning technique
adolescent
when the
boys,
boyfriends come in.
Yep.
Are you
All that
one of
stuff.
those really protective dads or not?
No. I just whatever. Do whatever.
Cool
Well, you
dad.
gotta learn.
You're
You
the
gotta
cool dad.
learn.
Yeah,
You
no,
know what I mean?
I keep telling myself that I'm going to be one of those laid back dads, that I'm not going to be overly protective, but we'll see. I mean, there is something special about a little girl's love.
Yes. Yep.
I love my son. I mean, he's my homeboy. He's my buddy. I mean, we do everything together. I mean, he goes to all my basketball games. I bring him to, martial arts. We're always hanging out together. We play video games together. But there's something about my daughter that there's this sweetness. There's something about it that it just,
Yeah, I get it.
The issues never end. But yeah. Did we do our cheers or did we just start drinking? Cheers, guys.
I think we got after it right away.
Yeah.
So.
We're catching up.
That's how you end up with 3 kids, huh? You get after everyone?
Well,
You
for
ain't
me,
kidding, man.
I don't
You
want
are
my
not
daughters. I don't want my daughters to be like
Oh,
twerking on YouTube. Twerking on YouTube.
No, because my wife's father was really protective
And really into twerking.
I don't know about all that, but
He was really protective with your wife.
yeah. And of course,
Interesting.
that made them push away. So.
Why is this shit not coming in as clear as it should be?
no.
Fucking
Wi-Fi, bro?
yeah, but well, I'm using the Fire Stick today instead of Chromecast. Wondering,
Oh.
I don't know if that was one of the many. Whatever. Hopefully, it'll come in. But yeah. So it is one of those things where I hope that I don't end up being overly protective to the point where I'm so restrictive to, that she ends up wanting to rebel at some age.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I end up, I dated a girl in high school for a long time, which you guys are familiar with. And same thing, I kind of felt like she was this caged animal. Her parents were so old school Portuguese, really protective. And the second she was old enough to move out, and
She
really,
banged every dude in the neighborhood.
yeah, hopefully she's not listening. But yeah,
I don't know her.
I'm just,
Hypothetically.
I do.
but yeah, she
So it's true.
she definitely ended up partying it up a little bit. But my point is that I think how much of that is because it's such a thin line between being, you want to obviously not give them the complete green light and freedom to do whatever they want. But if you're too restrictive, they're going to rebel. I mean, that's just typical. If I tell my kids, whatever you do, don't touch this envelope on the counter, the second I leave that room, they're going to be curious and want to touch it. If I don't talk about it, they're not going to give a shit. I mean, it's like my bar, right? That's in the playroom for the kids.
Which is awesome, by the way.
It's
Probably find a new home for that soon.
no, well, that's what my wife said when she first got
Let's
pregnant
move it down here.
with our son. She's like, oh, you're gonna have to move that. And I'm like, why am I gonna have to move that? And she's like, oh, the kids are gonna play with it. I'm like, no, because we only drink when we put them to bed. So I'm like, it's just gonna be basically souvenirs. They're just going to sit there and they're not going to care, because you know how kids are. They care. They want to touch what you have and what you're intrigued with.
Yep.
You know, if you're not intrigued with it, they're not going to care. And that's exactly what's happened. That bar is there. Kids never touch it. They have all these shiny glasses and bottles. It doesn't get their attention at all because they never see us go over there and touch anything. It's just that same psychology of like, you know, the more you tell them no, the more intrigued they are with it. And so, you know, it is one of those things. It's a thin line, and you never know the long-term just how they're going to take the long-term effects of it. You meet people, right? And they have some weird thing about them, or some weird maybe some OCD thing that you're just like, oh, I wonder where they got that from. Then you get to know their past and their history, and then you find out, oh, they react to this or don't like that because their parents did this, or their parents used to do that, or they had this trauma that happened when they were a kid. So it's like you never know the long-term effects of things. And I'm constantly thinking about that. I'm like, you know, am I being too hard? How should I treat this situation and react to this situation? Like, could there be some long-term effects to it? So it's all, I mean, you just never know, you know?
Yeah, I think being authentic with your kids and balanced and giving them as many tools as possible. You know, I don't want to be dishonest with them as they grow up, so that, you know, a lot of the kids, when you were talking about, you know, sheltering, you know, I went to church as a kid. I met some of these sheltered kids who grew up in these evangelical homes where, like, they were very the parents were strict about making sure they didn't have access to things the parents felt were inappropriate, but there was no context behind it. There was no, I felt in some ways there was no real authenticity behind explaining to the kids why they couldn't have access to certain things. And the rebellion was this curiosity that just wasn't answered. It was this, I think kids can sense inauthenticity from you. You know, they can feel something that's fake. So I would say that, you know, for me, I have the same concerns, Ricky, but, you know, I'm just going to be as real as possible with them, give them as many tools as possible. And as far as my daughters are concerned, you know, I have the same concerns, man. I'm just going to try and empower them as much as possible and have the same expectations of them that I'm going to have of my son. You know, I expect them to accomplish all the same crap that he's.
Do you not hear that, Vinny?
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. I'm like, do you not hear the karate chops?
Yeah, man. Well, I want to be. Yeah. It's. I blame you, Ricky, for putting whiskey in my.
So
coffee.
we got some comments on YouTube already. So you gay? You all gay?
Yes.
If Fernando,
I'm super
Gonzalez.
Gay. For whoever that is,
I'm gonna call you out just because you're being a shithead. But
dude, if he came here right now, we would suck his dick.
That's true.
All 2 inches.
There might be some truth to that. We are married for a while.
Going off of what you're saying, Vinny, I don't know how people who just lie to their kids just keep that going. That just seems like exhausting.
I think lying in general is exhausting.
Yes.
Like you ever just balance like a couple girls you were seeing back in the day? No. I mean, like it sounds like a great time and it's fun, and then after a while you're
virgin. Like, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I know exactly where you're going. Because it's just like
I'll
let you finish. Yeah,
it gets to the point where just like it's more work than it's worth. It's like, oh, I gotta lie to this chick, or I have to be kind of, or not even lie, but be dishonest. Like, oh, you know, what are you doing this weekend? You know, and you're going to hang out with somebody else, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna hang out with the boy, and it's just it gets to after a while, it's just like, what am I doing? Like, it's just it kind of weighs on you in time, and I don't get like I talk to dudes who you know, you get the guys who brag about, yo, I'm hooking up with this chick and I'm hooking up with that chick and all this stuff. And I'm always thinking to myself, like, okay, that sounds like fun for a little bit, but after a while, I'm like, it's exhausting. Like,
yes, I agree completely. It is exhausting. Not like I got any experience in that arena, but I got buddies that I used to work with, and they'd be like,
allegedly,
we'd all
I've never seen him do it.
You know, we do like a double date or something, and then he'd drop his girlfriend off, and he'd be like, oh, I got to run, you know, somewhere else to go get with the next girl. And I'm like, exactly what you said, Ricky. That sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, what is fun about that? You know, like,
well, not just that. And if she catches you in a lie, you look like a dick. And it just, to me, it's like, okay, how about this? You hook up with a girl until she's not fun to hook up with anymore. And you move on, and you hook up with the next girl, and you're just honest. Like, hey, things are off and we're moving on. And then you can kind of do it without ever looking like a shithead. You know, I mean, that's kind of the way my thing. Like when I was younger and I was doing a lot of dating, like I never wanted to burn bridges. Like a lot of guys would be like, oh, fuck her, I just stopped texting her back. And then it's like, well, yeah,
it's just a dickhead thing to do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, if why not just like there's more polite ways of cutting it off. You know, like my technique would always be that I would
it's not me, it's you.
No, I wouldn't do that. No, I would text them back, and but after a while, I would like text them, like, not get back to them immediately, and then every time we would text back, I would take longer to write them back, and to the point where it got like
weaning them off. Is that your method?
Yeah,
it really is.
But at least they get the message, and like, okay, this dude's not really into me, and I didn't just like hang out with them and then literally ignore them.
I feel like that's still kind of passive aggressive.
Well, what I mean, what other way are you going to really go about it?
Like, this isn't working.
Yeah,
or you could do me and Vinny's technique. It's just like make them break up with us. Just be like a shitty boyfriend.
Yeah, you could.
So what do you do? They walk in and you're just masturbating all over the place.
We're just playing video games drunk when we were supposed to go out or something.
Masturbating.
Be masturbating each other.
Well, that's going to happen regardless. I mean, they just got to live with that.
This guy's hair is awesome. If you guys are watching the fight,
sickest mullet you could have. Although mullets are sort of jumping the shark too. It's a lot of fighters get the ironic mullet and it just doesn't do anything.
So anymore. Ricky Simone from America with the mullet.
Yeah.
Joe Dirt mullet.
Yeah.
He looks all Mexican.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, but some of these guys, they say they're from America and they don't speak any English, and it just.
I like how you said America.
America.
I think if I walked into the office with that haircut, they'd just fire me immediately.
I might try to get out of this and go back in and see if the quality improves.
Yeah, sounds it's kind of fuzzy.
Yeah, fuzzy wuzzy was a beer. Let's see if this. Yeah, exactly the same. Thanks, guys. This worked out really well. I hate Fire Stick. I'm gonna get my wife. Oh wait,
no, that came through.
Oh, it worked. There you go.
Genius.
Just gotta wait for it to buffer.
So who the hell is this guy? You guys know these fighters?
Jeff Bezos just fixed that shit for you.
Yeah, Rani Yaya has been fighting forever, and he's one of these Brazilian jiu-jitsu wizards who's only, I mean, he's fighting in the UFC, so obviously he's a good mixed martial artist, but he's sort of, he's middling. He's never really threatening for anything, but he's good enough to, beat the bottom of the division. But anyhow, he's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Do you want to know how he's going to start this fight?
He's going to butt scoot.
No, he's going to like paw jab and just
into the microphone.
Double leg. Thanks, Ricky.
You're either really loud or really quiet.
Yeah, that's pretty much my whole life.
I like a guy who doesn't shave his chest.
His little baby chest hairs right there.
Very foreigner.
Yes,
like Vladi Divac back in the day. The only guy who didn't shave his arms and chest. He's just like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. He definitely wears a Speedo to the beach. Yep.
Yep.
The banana hammock.
Yep.
I'd like to see him tap
in his banana
out.
hammock.
So did you guys hear about the rumors of Cerrone and McGregor?
Yeah.
What'd you guys think about that?
Did you see that he said he would step up to fight Gastelum?
Yeah,
he should have. That would. I mean, if anybody can just have a fight last second, it's Cerrone.
Did you also see that Bellator released Chael Sonnen to fight Anderson Silva? They would have let him fight him for the third time because he's down there with ESPN.
Yeah, I did see Chael Sonnen doing
So wait,
some
they were going to have Chael fight Anderson?
Bellator is like, we'll let you
have Stylebender fight Kelvin
for like an interim belt.
A great fucking idea. What?
Yeah.
And what happened?
But Chael Sonnen has to be like 240 pounds right now.
So
yeah, he still probably get his ass kicked.
Yeah, he didn't look good in his last Bellator fight either. We fought was it Fedor?
Fedor.
He hasn't looked good ever.
And Fedor hasn't looked good, so he got beat by somebody.
Bader knocked him out in like
yeah.
30 seconds, 40 seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't the cleanest shot. I mean, it was a clean shot, but he didn't have a ton behind it. No. It was like a lead left hook that, I mean, Fedor would have walked right through it,
that was
10 years ago.
Good decision for Bader to jump to Bellator. He's the king there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, they have some. I mean, Paul or Daly, what's his name?
Paul Daly.
Paul Daly. He's a good fighter. He's coming up too, right, at Mohegan
Saturday.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's fighting what's his face?
MVP.
Yeah, MVP. He's nasty too. They got some good fighters.
We're going.
Are you guys going to that fight?
Yeah, we'll be there. Yep.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. I remember getting that text message.
Yeah, thanks, motherfuckers.
It was sort of last minute,
bro. Anytime.
Well, I was talking to Gina about it. I'm like, hey, we should go down to that one of these Mohegan Sun Bellator because they're there often.
Let's go the
They
next
are there a
time.
lot, yeah.
They'll be there probably June or July. I guarantee
No,
it.
I think aren't they there 2 weekends in a row or 2 days?
Friday
in a row
and
or something? Or
Saturday
2 days
next
in a row,
week.
Yeah.
A couple of my buddies are like high rollers at Mohegan or Foxwoods, whatever the fuck that's at. They're like, yeah, we can get you tickets. I'm like, I don't want like some fucking.
You
Well,
can see pretty much
future fucking
from
tickets.
anywhere, but you end up just watching the screen anyway, so it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter where you sit.
Well, the one time I went was with you guys. Well, yeah, it was you.
oh, we went to
Vinny,
Boston.
and we went to go see TJ and Cruz when TJ
Yeah.
lost his belt.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that
Yeah,
was,
so one
that
of
was a
the
good fight.
One of the things about MMA is it's not the best live
It's not.
to see for a spectator. Not
No.
really.
the
and you
atmosphere is
got-
great, but
and-
you can't see shit.
Wait. The atmosphere is great. It's a bunch of dudes with
Well,
tattoos
it
who think
depends
they're
where you're
MMA
sitting.
fighters.
Yeah.
Going, punch him in the face.
Well, when we went to McGregor and Seaver, that was fun. Like all the Irish guys are
Yeah,
funny.
so
Oh, dude, they're
if
fucking
the
insane.
fighter brings in a big contingent of their own fans, like McGregor fans travel. So in Boston,
I was in
it was
Boston for
big,
the
big.
McGregor and Max Holloway.
Oh, and that was
that was a
went
while
to a
ago.
decision. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to see those guys go at it again.
It's funny. I was thinking about all the guys McGregor's beat, and I feel like if he fought them again, he would lose. Like Holloway,
Yeah.
Holloway's gotten
Dustin
a lot better.
Poirier. I think Aldo would give him a
I
better
don't know.
fight than 13
Yes,
seconds.
yeah. But Aldo
Uh,
I mean, he did look good his last fight, but he fought Max how many times?
Twice.
Twice and looked or three, two.
But Holloway
yeah.
is like
But you mean to tell
He's
me
another
that-
level. He's a legit gangster. Like McGregor in some, I think early in his career he was willing to fight anybody. He was, he didn't. If somebody dropped out of a fight, he's like, well, just find somebody and I'll fight that guy. But he kind of became a prima donna more at the end of his career. And Max Holloway is kind of that
It's-
early McGregor guy where he's just like, yeah, I'll fight Khabib last second. Yeah, I'll fight Aldo again.
it's a different level though. McGregor he has more to lose now, so like there's
That's
no
true too. Yeah.
like he's already he doesn't even have to fight again. He made like $150 million off a
And the
That-
crazy
that's
thing, he's still more famous than Khabib, even though he lost his last fight. Pretty
of
bad.
course.
Yeah.
But
sure.
okay, so that fight, you guys all watched it.
Right.
Let's be honest. McGregor did not look like the McGregor that won the two championship belts.
Nope, he
Like
lost every round.
he lost every, but he didn't just lose every round. Like
He lost on the feet.
he couldn't fucking connect. Like he was so
No,
slow.
he was
his
off.
his counter striking was awful. I'm like, he was too busy making babies in Liverpool, and he just, you could tell like he just wasn't the McGregor of old. Like you're talking about Khabib, who isn't that good of
Well,
a striker.
2 years off from MMA, right?
2 years off, and
It's a
I mean,
lot.
probably a lot of partying and a lot of not really focusing on MMA, and how much of that hype will eventually go to your own head, where you
How
just,
much
like,
of
feel
that
like
is just show though? Is he really like going out being crazy? Because he's
dude, I don't know, man. You have that much money, that much fame. I think it's almost
Mike Tyson
unavoidable.
effect.
I think it's almost
Yeah, I
unavoidable
totally
because
agree.
you look at it. Even if you wanted a quiet night out, like to eat with
Impossible.
impossible, right? Because now you have people who want to buy you, especially in Ireland. You got people who want to buy you drinks. You got
Stereotyping, huh? That's cool.
No, I'm saying they like to party, and they want to buy you drinks. You're out. Next thing you know, a quiet dinner ends up turning into an all nighter,
Yeah.
and people are constantly giving you free shit. Like, oh, we'll give you
I
free
mean,
access
that's
to our
like
club.
a lot of excuses. He can control that. Just stay home.
I just think it's super easy to say. I really do.
Well, we can't ever walk in that guy's shoes.
Exactly. I just think the psychological strength and that it takes to deal with all that desire and temptation is just, it's something beyond. I mean, I always say, like, when you look at like somebody like Justin Bieber, who's like was fucking up in his teens and 20s or whatever it was, and
He wasn't doing anything that serious though.
no, but he was just being a shithead, right? And that
But
we know of.
he
I mean,
was
I don't know
being
his history
A
that well.
typical teenage kid. It was just
With a lot of money.
on
But that's
TV
my
and
point.
shit.
But my point is that, like, okay, this dude's doing donuts with no license in a Ferrari or whatever he's doing. Like,
yeah, we
we
were
did
doing it in a
hasn't-
Nissan
yeah,
Sentra.
exactly.
like,
We're doing
whatever.
stupid shit. We didn't even have money. Now imagine if we had, like, I mean, I did a lot of going out in my 20s, and like I couldn't imagine having McGregor's fame and money and popularity and all that stuff. I mean, I could just imagine the trouble I get into. I mean, I'd probably have multiple kids. I'd probably have, I'd probably be, having some baby mama saying,
I'd have
meet me on Montel,
a whole lot of like heroin and
Maury,
Mari.
you are not the father.
He's such a shithead. Fuck him. That dude. No, you know what pissed me off is that the woman will be on the show like 8 times and he's still acting like she's the victim.
Yeah.
Like she's just looking for the father. No. And I'm like, dude, she's been on the show like 4
sympathy.
times. Yeah. I'm like, you're just playing you're trying to play.
That always
the
cracks
crowd.
me up. It's like, this is the 13th paternity test for this baby. I'm like, you fucked that many guys in like a month window.
Exactly. Because the window has to be small. And then he'll be like, well, if this is your kid, will you take care of him? And it's like,
they're
dude,
like, hell no.
Yeah. And he should say hell no. Because it's like, no, she's a whore.
She's a cum dumpster.
Yeah, my favorite part about that show is when it's the guy's not the father and then the woman's all distraught and she runs into the back room and the cameraman's following her all the way, and then they always collapse into the same like closet that had all these wires, and it happens so much that they started decorating that closet. They put plants in there, they painted it, because they knew that that's what they were end up. Yeah, that was my favorite part of that and when like if the guy was the father, about 50% of the time the woman would twerk in celebration in front of everybody. Yeah, I wanted to go to Maury so bad. I think for my senior trip, they wanted to go to Maury Povich and they squashed it. They said,
"Is it still on?"
What's that?
Maury's still alive?
No, he's like 80. I don't think he's on anymore. No, Maury's alive. I don't know if they do his show anymore, but somebody should be doing paternity tests
if it's still on
during the day.
I'll make that dream come true for you.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
That was my.
Well,
my
Springer,
dream.
he's
I'll
actually
make it your 5-year later bachelor party. Maury Povich.
Yeah.
Well,
4
Springer's
million
still
kids
alive,
later.
and he's still doing interview, and he's actually a pretty bright dude. He's a little, a little lefty, but
I think he was like a governor.
Springer,
or mayor
he
or
ran for
something.
some type of political office. But he's actually pretty politically savvy. Like he's smart. I mean, he leans left a lot.
Yeah, he's
but,
very hard liberal.
Yeah, but he's
yeah, it's still on.
What?
Yeah, he
2 more years.
Yeah,
2 more years.
2 more years of Maury, pending on his life.
I mean, Maury has like 3 things that you can't miss. You got the paternity tests,
And super
He's
fat
got
babies, man.
super fat
kids.
babies, and then scared
Freak
straight
accidents.
teenagers. Scared straight teenagers.
Okay, I've never
Catch Me
Straight
Outside.
too, yeah. Catch me
That-
outside.
That's what they do. Whoa, Yaya cut this guy.
I
He
like
was getting
when
his ass kicked on the
they're
feet.
not the father. Fuck the fights. What are
Okay.
you talking about?
I'm sorry.
I like when they're not
didn't
the
mean to talk
father
about the fights.
and they do the worm. They're like,
Oh yes, yes. Well, that's what I want to do. My dream is to dap up a guy who like wasn't the father, then he's running around slapping hands, only to come back a month later and then be the father
of another baby.
of another, or a year later, or
Triplets.
whatever.
Yeah, in
exactly.
defense of those women on that show, those dudes probably did bang multiple women, and they're probably
What's the defense for that?
Well, I'm just saying, like, we're calling them like whores, but those dudes are probably banging.
yeah, they're
mad,
gross, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't shame anybody anymore. It's
No,
like do
no.
whatever you want. I mean, really, especially we live in the world of like, there's there's a million apps for dating. I mean,
and the crazy thing,
can't
I
do anything.
remember when dating, like meeting people online, was like kind of taboo and looked down
Yes.
upon,
Yes,
and
I do
now
remember.
literally that's how everybody meets.
No, that is the normal way of
Yeah,
dating. in
everybody meets
2019.
online now. It's like
Yes.
quite normal to be like, oh, I'm like, oh, how'd you meet that girl? Oh, we met on Tinder. We met on whatever,
Yeah.
Plenty
No.
of Fish or whatever it may be, and it's just like it's not like before it'd be like, oh, you met somebody online.
It's so
And-
weird though. I don't know. To me, it's weird. I don't know.
So
I
much
think it
easier
makes
now.
perfect sense because your digital life is your
So much
regular
easier
life,
now.
and you spend so much
Oh
time
yeah. I mean,
on your
I
digital
could
life.
just I could just imagine like.
And it removes the
social.
Talk into it.
Hello.
There you
takes away room for error because
Dude, I
you
can't
know
get
you
that
have all
close
your
to the
similar
beer.
interests and all that stuff. I mean, it's way easier than seeing somebody at the other end of the bar hoping they're not too drunk to talk to you about something, and
Builds character though.
you remember what it was like. You're like, oh, is she
Rejection?
looking at me? I don't know. It's loud in here. Let me go over there.
Yeah, but
You know?
girls don't look the same in person anymore.
Well, girls don't look the same in those pictures compared to in person. You see
Oh,
some of those. I mean, how many times do you hear those stories of the dude who's like, oh, I went on a date with this chick, and then I met her, and I'm like, holy shit, that's not the girl in the picture.
Right.
She ate the girl that was in the picture.
Yeah.
I think
Or it's
those
like
are-
some old picture.
Those are
That,
first world problems.
Oh my God, why does she not have dog ears anymore?
what the
Those
fuck are
fucking
dog ears?
filters.
Oh, what's up? What's up with that? I don't get like why do people post pictures looking like cats? I don't get it. Like what? Like what's attractive about
that?
Guys, we're gonna talk about some real serious issues tonight.
Ronnie
What's up
Yaya's
with those
getting
cat?
fucked up.
What's up with those cat filters?
I would have thought Yaya would have been knocked out by now, but
He's pretty durable. He
Yeah,
also
he's-
looks like he's about 40 years older than he really is. I
yes,
think
he's
probably
looked
like
40 since he was
32,
20.
but
Yeah.
he looks about 56.
And he's not desperately shooting for double legs or anything.
And we're
Yeah,
back to
Yaya's
not talking about
only-
the fights.
How old? He really did look like he was like 50.
He's only in his like mid 30s.
He can't be. Yeah,
He looks all of 48, dude.
that's illegal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Oh,
I went to
wait,
high
wait,
school
what
with
did he do
guys
that
who
was
were
illegal?
like 16.
Kicked him in
and
the
they looked
face
like
from
they
the
were
ground.
already, you know,
See,
running
That's
up
not
on
illegal.
40.
are you sure that's illegal?
It's not illegal.
Yeah,
Kicking somebody in the face when you're on your back
yeah. If they're on their
Kicks.
knees,
I don't think he was
on
was
his
he
knees. Yeah. Now let's see the replay.
we'll not see that replay.
Well, he did get hit.
He
with a
just
headbutt
headbutted
and got
him, so
dropped.
fuck it.
Oh, look at his
Oh, look
uppercut.
at the open hand.
Oh,
He's coming through.
oh,
Nice
he missed.
Sloppy
cross down the
uppercuts.
middle.
Yeah, yeah.
People must
Look
be
at
like,
that
how
massive
much
shoulder.
ADD do these guys have? Because we go from talking about the fights, talking about totally nonsense.
We're just basically, you know, making sure that the people who expected a fight companion Joe Rogan show.
Are getting what they want.
Why are you reading the comments?
I
What did
don't
it
know.
say?
I'm so stupid.
This is the thing is, okay,
What am I reading?
if you're let me
No, we are not going to do any
No.
color commentating. That's all you got. We just gave it to you like 35 seconds worth.
well, first of all, once a good fight comes on, we'll talk about it.
Drop some questions in there and we could discuss it or something.
This is I will say one of the best things about having a podcast for as many years as I had one, and I dealt with it before too when I was playing music and whatnot and putting the shit online, is that you get a lot of positive feedback, but you'll get a lot of shit feedback, and the shit feedback it'll stick with you forever. Like you'll read 1,000 good comments, and then that one shithead, that like one comment will bother you for like the rest of the day, and it gets to the point where you're just like you just don't pay any attention to it. And don't get me wrong, my show has, I mean, knock on wood, I'm super lucky. If you look at my reviews, I mean, like 99% of them on iTunes and stuff like that are positive 5-star reviews talking about how much they love the show or whatever. People who tweet me, write me, write. I was gonna say write me up, which I meant
Write
I was
you up.
I was saying write
Put
me
you
and
on
hit me
warning.
up at the same time. On that's pretty good, dad hat.
Dad's hat.
And
This
And
is for you.
this is
Dad's
for you,
hat.
dude.
Do it up.
No, it is. It's pretty good whiskey.
Ugh.
And I think somebody brought it to me when I found out about Ricardo
Oh,
being
that's
born,
cool.
and it's still hanging around.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's a rye whiskey. But
I'll go back to what you're saying though. Like,
but you just learned
you
to
just
like.
got to get thicker skin.
Well, the other
Like
thing
people
too,
are such shitheads, and everyone that's probably leaving a negative comment is just a jealous piece of shit.
well,
And like you just need to
Well, it's
just
not
like
just that.
dust
Well,
that the fuck
well-
off and like
So
whatever.
aggressive. Jesus.
remember,
Yo,
well,
left leg cemetery, homie.
not the age. Oh, nice shirt. I just noticed your Crow Cop shirt. Not to age ourselves, but remember like AIM back in the day.
Yes.
Like if you were in a chat room, you
Oh,
should
aim.
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 Wasn't
I
it?
didn't
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about
yeah.
that for a second.
And,
I'm like, yeah.
I never
Like,
called it AIM. I
People
called
would
it
just
aim.
say shitty shit just because nobody knew who you were, and you're just like, why not? Like, hey, you guys are all gay, or you guys are corny, or go fuck yourself, or whatever. You know? Oh, you guys ever play
video games
play video game online?
Oh
Yeah. When people don't know who you are,
They're
they're
so
more-
tough.
they're more likely to talk shit and to say stuff. And then
Of course.
if you met those people in person, like, okay,
Timid
perfect
as
example.
fuck.
Look at our friend Kevin, who's done one of these with us, right? Like he's pretty opinionated. Like I could see Kevin writing something like, "Oh, you guys suck," or start talking, or whatever.
Right.
And then you meet him and like, "Oh, he's not a bad dude. He just like had an opinion on something."
Well, you know
know?
what's funny is that like Ronda Rousey and like Travis Brown, they play like World of Warcraft and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they get talked shit to all the time.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well, Mighty
have no
Mouse,
fucking
Mighty
clue.
Mouse, he plays online all the time
yeah,
too.
he's like
and
an Xbox dude.
yeah,
yeah.
who's that? He left the UFC. That's interesting. Oh, so what do
He
you
got
guys think?
traded.
I know that's kind of weird. What do you guys think of the Cejudo TJ fight? Did you guys watch it?
It was
Yeah, I
stopped too
watched
soon.
that.
Too soon.
No, I thought that was fair.
I thought it was
Nah.
pretty okay. Just
I
I'll
watched
tell
it
you,
like 3 or 4 times, and I was like,
this is
I would
the
have stopped.
this
it.
is my
Nah, a
opinion.
fight like that, you gotta let it.
I get that
let it
point too.
kind
I
of-
okay. I'll tell you right now.
The
If you weren't
stakes.
listening to the analysts or you didn't hear any of the post-fight conversations where everybody said it stopped too soon, if you just only watched the fight, like my first reaction was like, oh, it wasn't that
got
bad.
dropped twice,
Like,
right?
yeah, I'm like he got dropped twice. I'm like
Kind of.
maybe it was a little too soon.
Allegedly.
No, now you sound like TJ. Oh, he pushed me. I didn't really fall, dude. He connected. Like, don't make excuses. He
Of
connected.
course he connected, but he didn't. He wasn't out.
Well, he wasn't out,
even
but
close.
they're not always out when they're trying to gather themselves and getting hit in the head.
Yeah, and it's a judgment call by the ref, which
You have
is
split
saving the
seconds.
fighter from themselves. You want to make sure that they're not taking unnecessary damage. And if you can judge, if the ref can make a judgment call, which is this guy's not going to bounce back, he's not going to come back and take this fight. And now it's just a matter of this guy's too tough to go down, then you really got to save the fighter from themselves in those situations.
Yeah,
Like,
but
you have
there's
to
certain
gauge like what
situations
time
that-
it is in the fight.
Yeah.
It's like 30 seconds.
Ben,
to the
talking to the
fight.
microphone.
So it's like 30 seconds of the fight. You just say, all right, I'll let this guy get beat up a little bit more rather than if it was like the 4th, 5th round when he's already taken a ton of damage.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying there. I think that if you see a guy who's looks like, there is a such thing as being out on your feet. And there is a such thing as, okay, he's out, but he just isn't falling down. I mean, that happens. Like your legs
Yeah,
just
you're
don't
concussed.
give out,
Yeah,
and I think in those situations, the ref can make a judgment call. This guy's not going to bounce back from this. He's
Well,
just
and
going to
let's-
stand here
and
and take
I think-
damage until his lights literally get turned
I
out.
think the ref
and his
got too
legs
much
failed.
shit because I mean you have to make a split-second decision, and
Right.
if you look at when it first happened, I thought there was less of an argument that it was too soon, and then after I see the replay and everybody starts saying it, I'm like, okay, I kind of see from their perspective, but that ref didn't have the opportunity to second guess himself
Right.
or to reanalyze things. He had to make a quick decision, and it wasn't like it was the first time he got hit. Like he already kind of fell once, and then it was the second time, so he's already assuming like, okay, he might be getting hit now while concussed, which could create a lot more damage and more likely.
Yeah, but
We'll talk.
for the same argument, they're light guys. It's not like they're heavyweights and they're hitting.
But that's the other argument. People talk about how when you lose that much weight and you're cutting that much weight, you might be more dehydrated.
Right.
You might be more likely to get knocked out. And I wonder in the back of the ref's head if he was thinking like, okay, maybe he depleted himself so much that he's really going to have some serious damage. He can't, because they talked about it, how when you cut that much weight and you deplete yourself that much, you sometimes are more likely to get knocked out quicker.
Yeah.
We're at up a weight class, he might not have. He might have been able to take a hit a little better. So I wonder if that was in the back of the ref's head. I think that looking back, you can. But you know what? This is the way I look at it. It's not a bad thing because now I think Cejudo deserves, because he defended his belt. He gave TJ the fight he wanted. Really, Cejudo had everything to lose and nothing to gain because really, if he lost the belt. If he lost the fight, he lost the belt. If he won the fight, he doesn't gain anything. So now I think he goes up, fights TJ, and win or lose, he can give. If he loses, then he gives TJ his rematch, and they're both 1-1. And I think it makes for a fun little, best out of 3 fight.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and I think he earned because I know TJ saying he wants to come down, but I don't never get people who want rematch or think they deserve rematches after getting beat. Like regardless if you okay, when Kevin Lee, supposedly tapped out Chiesa, which he didn't really, like nobody said like, oh, Kevin, like I didn't see the uproar about like people saying like he legitimately, they're like, oh, but he almost tapped out. He was going to tap out. It doesn't matter. Like he still has to tap out. Like,
he
and
didn't.
I didn't see like the uproar, but there's an uproar to this. And it's like, he actually did get like clipped and he
Multiple times.
stumbled. So I'm like, I almost feel like there's other situations that you can make a better argument about. So Yaya lost to Amanda Nunes. Well, Amanda Nunes is just going in every weight class. Did you hear about the rumor about her possibly wanting to win the third belt?
125.
Dude, she's
impressive.
She's impressive.
She's very impressive.
The Cyborg fight. I'm really excited about seeing if they're gonna make the Holly Holm Nunes fight because they haven't fought before.
I don't see
is
a
that
point
too much
to
of a
it.
stretch?
You think so?
I don't see how Holly Holmes earned that fight. She's won
Because
one fight and then lost the last 3 before that. So
But
it's like,
she won her last fight, right? Didn't she?
yeah,
But you have to think about the people she was fighting.
Yeah.
Like since the
So
Ronda
she
fight, she
gets the-
only fought the best of the best. She fought Cyborg and the only fighter before Nunes to make it all the rounds. Like it went to that's pretty impressive. Like people forget how impressive that was to, so I mean, you're right. I mean, she doesn't have a crazy winning streak, but I think once you're a champ and you're somebody like Holmes and now you're only fighting the top guys, it's kind of like Joanna, Joanna Faber, yeah. Like your record, you start going on these losing streaks, but it's only because people are only putting you against the best of the best. What?
You want to grab me one of these? Sorry.
Yeah,
Don't worry
man.
about it.
Go grab some beers.
Dude, honestly, I think they should all just have to fight Rumble.
It never gets old. Dude, have you seen how freaking bloated he looks?
He's
big,
like,
it's
I'm gonna
fucking retarded. I heard him on
Oh, if you guys want waters or something there.
because I listen to Fight Nation on XM.
Mhm.
I drive all the fucking time.
Fight
so-
from.
Do you listen to Fight with Friends on iTunes?
No.
You should. They talk MMA and they're
Yeah.
smart.
Okay.
I got one of our buddies to listen. He's probably not going to be my friend after he listens to our last show, but whatever.
Our last show, dude. The table. You guys are such rookies.
Sorry,
You've
I'm
only
so
done
sorry.
like 6 of these.
No,
No,
so,
no,
so-
it's kind of my fault. I need to get a table that doesn't make as much noise when you touch it.
So back to like TJ and I don't even remember the guy who
dude, I
got
was
knocked
talking
out
about
by.
Rumble. What
Oh,
the
so
Oh,
who
go
though?
ahead. Go ahead. You have it.
Jesus.
Go ahead. ahead.
Oh, Rumble, yeah.
No, he was on Fight Nation. And he was saying that if he does come back, he's going to come back at heavyweight.
He has to. He's 300 freaking pounds.
You see how bloated he's on so much D-ball right now.
He said he could still make 205, no problem.
He probably
Yeah,
could
just
make
stop
it in
taking
a
his
year.
D-ball.
I don't know.
He looks like somebody who's juicing. Like you know how you see the guys at the gym, like once they're on D-balls, their face swell up
Yeah.
like crazy. He's swelled up a
He
lot.
always had that like swollen
No, when-
alien head.
He's just
I don't know,
a
when
big
he-
dude. in
he is a big
general.
dude, yeah.
I just don't understand how that motherfucker made 170.
No, that was gross.
What do you guys think of this fight? The John Jones fight.
What
He's
the
gonna
one coming
smash
up?
Smith.
You never know. You never know.
I will
know.
say every
I
fight that
know.
Smith's had, I mean he's
He-
won, but he's never looked super impressive.
No, his last one he
Yeah.
was losing, and
But he
then
comes out.
He'll come to fight.
He'll come to no, he's a brawler, and I'm not counting Smith out. I mean, obviously, it's
I am
in the fight game, anything can happen, But
true.
I haven't seen any fights where he dominated, and you're like, because you see like Max Holloway, the John Jones, the Anderson Silvas, like we were talking about, these guys, these best of the best dudes, like they dominate fighters, and Smith hasn't really dominated that fight. Yeah,
Well,
looked
he
pretty
knocked
but that
out
was
what?
a
Yeah, but that's the
Rashad
old
Evans.
yeah,
who's-
that's an old.
who's like 500. Shogun, and then he knocked out the last guy, but he didn't look good for 2 rounds in that
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's
trying
the
to,
shallowest division in the UFC right now, 205, I think.
and I like Smith. I mean, I like him as a analyst. I like him as a fighter.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Not on the microphone right now. You're missing all this elaborate commentary coming out of his mouth.
Nope.
You never know, man.
I mean, would you guys hate me if I said I almost feel bad for John Jones because I honestly don't think he did anything wrong this time, and he's getting all the shit for it?
I honestly think he did everything wrong.
He didn't do anything wrong this time. He really didn't. If you look at
don't
the
know that.
facts, he didn't. Well, I do know that because I listened to everybody who's analyzed it and studied it, and literally, there's something that it's such a small trace that there's no way that he could have consumed or purposely
He cycled
injected
off
anything.
wrong.
It would have gave him zero benefits. And to my understanding, the testing has gotten so good because what would happen is that the labs that would have the best testing, they would give them the work. So these labs would compete with each other, and the testing has gotten so good that they're talking about how like if somebody literally like opened up a bottle that had a banned substance in it, just the powder in the air, the smell of it in the air, you could get in your system and they might be able to detect it. Like that's how, and I think it's almost gone to the point where it's too good. Cause it's like, if it gets to that point, like if you're finding such small traces of stuff into their bloodstream that doesn't benefit them at all, like who knows where it's coming from? It could be environment, could be whatever. And And then what's the point of like making it public and,
That's a
and just
joke
planting that
card.
seed of doubt and really ruining the person's reputation, I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, what I've heard as it pertains to that stuff is so they can detect things, right? The science behind testing is come out so that they can detect these super small trace amounts of oral steroid or however you take it. But I think the science isn't there to determine what that small trace amount means. You mentioned cycling wrong, or it's still in his system from a year ago, or what does that small trace amount actually mean? I don't know if the science of testing has gotten to the point where where these guys know what a very small amount actually means, because it could be just a trace amount from the prior use, or it could be he's trying to beat the test again and he did something,
Yeah, but see that's where and I've thought about that and I've heard that argument, but I don't know if I believe that, because even if you're trying to beat it, like if you try to beat it by getting a substance or taking a substance that they just can't find, if you can find even a trace amount of it, then like you're basically just fine. I mean, I just don't understand why would you put that substance that you're such a small amount of any substance like that in your system if it's not going to benefit you. Like, why even risk doing it? Like, people talk about micro dosing, and they're like, it's so little that it wouldn't even make sense to microdose. You wouldn't have any benefits from it.
Because
It just,
any little bit is an edge.
why? First of all, if you're John Jones, right, and you already have the history that he has, where people already think you're a cheater, people already don't like you. I mean, he's obviously a very arrogant and confident dude. Like, I don't think he's not, like, I think maybe there's some fighters out there that would risk it just because maybe they need that psychological edge. But I don't think he needs it. And I don't know. Why risk it?
He doesn't need it, but I think
he's dumb enough to give it a try.
mentally isn't as strong as you think he is.
Well, I think he's more reckless than I think people.
It's very reckless.
And well, he doesn't even know. Like, okay, so he just tweeted. I saw this thing on Twitter the other day. They're like, oh, he was talking about his wife telling him to go get soy milk, and he took a picture of like the milk section, and he's like, I don't know what to get or whatever. Or I sat here and looked at this for like a couple minutes because I was overwhelmed by whatever all these milk selections. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, you're a professional athlete. You have the best nutritionist in the world. Why are you drinking soy milk? Like, soy is really bad for you. It's all genetically modified. Like, sometimes I'm just like, are these guys really, like, we keep thinking that like they really know diet and nutrition and supplements and what to take and what not to take. And they should, they should have the brightest people around them. But some of these guys probably are so focused with fighting that they really aren't that intelligent when it comes down to like, okay, somebody says, hey, try this product, and they might not realize there's something, but again, in the defense of USADA,
this guy looks so skinny.
In defense of USADA, they do say they have every, a list of every product that isn't banned, or a list of every banned product.
Every banned product
is on the list.
You can literally log into a website
and see everything.
So
do you really have an argument on why you're taking something that's on there?
I'll take whatever.
I think that the use
you're
of
not a UFC
performance
fighter.
enhancers is more rampant than we think.
I think the UFC is now going to give you like whatever supplements. You could just get them directly from them if you're a UFC fighter. So there's like no excuse for being like tainted supplements. If you're getting it directly from them, then it would just be like,
there's a list of
fault.
I know there is a list of like supplements that they know for a fact are completely approved by USADA and all that stuff. It's like, you really do have options. And I mean, the whole thing seems kind of silly when people say, oh, I don't know what else. I mean, if you're a guy who travels a lot, maybe if you're eating food in some weird country, I can kind of see that happening. But,
dude, what if you go to McDonald's and they inject D-ball into your fucking burger?
Well, there probably is something illegal in some of the McDonald's food.
It is
like human flesh.
But it is interesting. But it's also like, where do you draw the line? Because it's like some of these supplements and stuff that it's like banned. It's like, well, why do you choose that and not that? Like, why is creatine okay, but that's not okay? Or why is this okay and that not?
What do you think steroids that Bodyguard's on?
That Australian dude? Yeah,
that dude is jacked to the tits, dude. He's got fucking ab veins in his teeth.
But I think John Jones is so naturally gifted that he just never even gave a fuck what he ate or whatever. So like him going in that and be like, oh, I don't know what milk. He probably just eats candy bars and he's still like,
well,
ripped.
now the counter argument is that he does have family that's in the NFL, and literally everybody in the NFL is on steroids.
Yeah, I mean, I think the use of performance.
So he's
enhancers
around
amongst
it.
these
Well, I would
guys
say-
is
and when he was
just way
powerlifting,
more prevalent than we.
And when
think
he
it
was
is.
powerlifting, you're around dudes who are taking roids. Like
Rumble?
Rumble too. But I'm saying that whole scene. I mean, you go to any gym, like there's gonna be somebody who's taking it, who's gonna offer some to you, or ask if you want to take, if you want to try it or whatnot, or you see somebody get strong and you're like, oh, I'm curious what you're taking, and then they're like, oh, I'm on this, So that shit happens. So I don't know. I think that it's like Vinny said, I think it's way more common than you think. Like I think I've said this on a fight with friends before. Like when we were going to high school, we had tons of wrestlers and football players, and this is a no-name high school with no professional athletes ever coming out of it, and people were on roids left and right. Like I could just imagine some, how common it is with all these high-ranked athletes. I mean, even the NBA. Like you can look at guys like Dwight Howard, LeBron James. You can't tell me. I mean, you can, but I don't know if I'd believe you that these guys didn't take something a little illegal at some point in their careers, like when they were, teenagers. I mean, first of all, if you're,
I would say Dwight Howard more than LeBron James, because LeBron James looked like a man child since he was like 16 years old.
A lot of people do their first cycle at 16, 17. I mean, you look at it like I know juniors and seniors in high school, 16, 17, 18, who are doing cycles. I mean, if you're LeBron James, and you're around adults who see the potential in you, and they're like, hey, you're just a kid. You're just going to listen to what they say. Like, hey, take this supplement, take this thing, take this, that thing. It's going to give you that edge. It's going to help you get stronger.
How would it help you that much in basketball, though?
Well, it helps you with recovery. I think that's the big thing. It's just
so I don't know if bigger, stronger, faster is as important in basketball, but Ricky had a great point, which is recovery is a huge aspect of it, especially in mixed martial arts, where you have guys who they got to do their striking,
well,
they
in
gotta
any
do their
sport,
wrestling,
really,
they got to do their grappling, they got to do their strength and conditioning. So, I mean, the human body just isn't meant to train 3 times a day and diet for 3 months in a row. I mean, you're gonna break down. So I think a lot of these guys take this stuff just so they can get up for the next workout, get up in the morning.
Do you think that the training is just poor right now? Like it's not figured out.
I think it's way better than it was in the early 2000s.
You're not sparring hard 3 days a week.
I think these elite guys, if you listen to Cejudo and TJ and you talk about their preparation for their last fight, their teams that they put together, like literally they're checking everything from their insulin levels to their heart rates. They know when to work out, when to rest, when to, when they can work out a little harder, when to eat, when not to eat. I mean, literally they become a science project where like everything is so thought out, and to the point where like if
their
you
heart rates while they're sleeping, their heart rates when they wake up.
Yeah, because that has effect on like if you should work out or not. Because if your heart rate's really high when you wake up in the morning, your body's still recovering.
Yep, like TJ said that like they take blood tests and everything. Like
check your insulin levels, when you should be eating.
They said that he's high in arsenic in his system, so he takes certain.
Okay, so did Anderson Silva have a child?
A very skinny Auschwitz child.
He's Jewish. He can make that joke.
This dude is 6'1", 155 pounds. He looks like a skeleton. It's gross.
He should take advantage of that length. If he lets this guy get inside.
You mean like Struve? Like he always
Struve? Yeah, he's the worst fighter ever. I'm like, you're so tall. Use your fucking jab, dude.
Yeah. Well, he seems to be using it. I mean, keeping.
Back to that TJ, I was watching like the behind the scenes or whatever they call it, and he just has like a whole thing of pills of like, this is what he takes when he feels whatever.
Yeah. No,
it seemed to work really well.
But see,
in the fight, like he definitely did well.
Now
with it.
I think it's gotten to the point where like to be the best of the best at TJ, at Cejudo, whoever, like you almost need this amazing team and this amazing plan that you just won't be able to compete with like these guys who have the resources.
I don't know, man. I saw Rocky 4. He was doing it in the streets.
No, it was
I think in the MMA game though, they straight.
Yeah, it was a pretty good sweep.
No, I was just saying they put a lot of stress on.
You just body hugged him.
Yeah, that was a sweet take.
Then I guess I did not see it at all.
Yeah. Well, I see this a lot with the really tall guys at 155, which is they have the length, but usually they're not the stronger fighter.
Oh, hell no.
So I would bet that he's not the stronger fighter in this fight.
Do you guys know any of these fighters?
I know the guy on top. I've seen him
Venata,
fight a
yeah.
couple times. I've never heard of the other guy.
Venata's the guy in the green.
He's from
Venata.
So it's
Albuquerque, I think.
250 into round 1 of Venata against Anderson Silva's
If
lost
you wanted
child.
to play-by-play, listen somewhere else, obviously.
We're
Listen,
talking about dicks here.
Guys, here's a tip.
Dick magnets.
Don't worry about what people want to listen to, okay? Just
I don't care.
do you, boo.
I assume nobody's listening, so just this is the only way.
I actually got a lot of shit my last 2 podcasts.
This will be the only way Ricky hangs out with me, so I gotta like
Well, first of all, I do a podcast on a regular basis. I play basketball. I go to the gym. I have 2 kids. I have a full-time job. How the fuck am I have a more flexible schedule than you? I throw you a text message. I'm like, hey, we're getting the dudes together. If you want to join us for dinner and drinks, you're like, oh, I'll see.
bro, I invited you over like 3 weeks ago. You just
that was one night.
Ghosted me.
I couldn't go. I told you I had a game that night.
You never sent me that text.
Yes, I did. I told you. I'm
You
like,
said I'll be there.
No, that's not true. Because we talked about. Remember, I'm like,
oh, go right now, homie.
I'm like, oh, how early are you gonna have people over? And you're like 5. I'm like, I don't have a. I'm like, my basketball game's at 7. I'm like, you remember? I'm like, oh, you're gonna be cocked by the time I get there.
People are in my house till like midnight.
Well, but I kept thinking, I'm like, by the time I get out, then I get home, I eat, I change. I'm like, I'm gonna get there. They'll be drinking for like 5 hours. They're gonna be tired and probably looking to call it a night when I show up. That's what I was concerned about, because I know you're not usually out too late. We
can move on because people really don't give a shit about this.
we're resolving our friendship on air.
Yeah, exactly.
This is fight with acquaintances. We're no longer friends. People I used to know.
The Anderson Silva resemblance is strong.
It's kind of creepy.
I told you guys.
Bit,
So they've had a Amanda Nunes look like, and now
fucked up, though.
An Anderson Silva look like.
Yeah, he's struggling to stop those blows coming from on top. That's for sure.
Well, do you think he cut weight, or did he just come off a boat from Africa starving?
Racism,
dude. For $1 a day,
I do have a feeling he didn't have to cut a bunch of weight.
Mariano,
you can adopt Mariano.
Yeah, he's about to lose this fight.
We can feed him for 49 cents a day.
Yeah, Mariano. That's a wait. Was he Brazilian?
Yeah, I do think he's Brazilian.
So
he's in some trouble here, though. He's better. He better find a way to scramble out of this.
Yeah, it's odd though because his record in the UFC is like 1-3-2 draws.
He's like, eat this dick.
Yeah, he's teabagging him.
I'm a teabag
him.
Oh, he's tapping.
Oh
he
my
tapped.
god!
Well, the ref was in the wrong spot because he was tapping. He didn't see it
right
initially.
In his mouth.
You don't
teabag
see
farted in his
like
mouth.
that
Submission.
Okay,
this level
for the record.
That dude looked horrendous. The other dude.
Yeah, he looked overmatched.
Yeah, he didn't look like he knew
so
what he was doing. And he goes to Dana White. He's like,
"I want my title shot."
Now give me the no. Now give me
losing 3 straight fights.
Now give me the real Anderson Silva.
Yeah, I'll fight him. I'll move up and wait. This is actually a good question. You see a lot of guys moving up in weight now, and they're doing pretty well. Like I don't feel like cutting that much weight is actually beneficial
as much as people.
Like this guy on the bottom here, Mariano. He looks like he should be fighting at like at least 170, 185.
Well, you make a good point because I always thought that. I'm like, when does like all the
diminishing returns?
Yeah, when you beat the shit out of your body to make that weight, like okay, you might be the bigger guy in that weight class, but see, look at the ref. He's like looking for that. What are you doing? Be on the other side.
And I don't know where he's supposed to be on that.
Well, he's supposed to be on the other side so he could see him tap. He couldn't see the other hand.
And maybe I don't.
Dude, he could have snapped his arm. And
I don't know. Snap his arm. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but my point is,
I don't know, man. If I was fighting, I would much rather just be my natural weight.
I think it's just
you're
more
trying to fight
train
smaller
healthy,
dudes, yeah,
and then whatever you could
Yeah, but this goes back.
Realistically, get down to.
I've heard Rogan talk about and others talk about like a lot of these guys like they'll wait till the last second to make weight.
They
too,
cut
man.
weight horrible.
It's like what are you doing? Like the second that fight is scheduled, you should be slowly cutting weight. Like
that's what I think.
Yeah, like instead of like waiting, it's 3 weeks in, we're really starting to cut weight.
Lose
like
30 pounds in 2 days.
It's 3 weeks and now you're starting to like seriously cut weight. Like or how many times have you seen these guys like it'll be the week of the fight and they're like, I'm at this weight, so I'm exactly where I want to be.
You're like 25 pounds over.
I'm like, wait, you're like fucking 15 pounds from where you need to be. You're telling me you're gonna cut like you're like that can't be healthy. And it makes you wonder, like you said, like if these guys stay, and this is why they need more weight classes. I don't know why the UFC.
No, they don't need more weight classes.
Yes, they do.
It's just people being fucking idiots.
That's true too. But I think if you had 165.
I think that's a good weight class.
Yeah, because why do you have like that giant gap? It makes no sense, dude. Like there's so many in-betweener guys that like don't know. Like,
I mean, what's the average weight of a male? Like 170-ish?
170 to 185 probably.
Yeah, so if your friends are pussies.
Yeah, if they don't play ball, bro. No, but like I've wrestled for 7 years. I fought like the guy said just like cut 20 pounds in one day. You're like, you're a fucking idiot. Like,
yeah.
I have no sympathy when I see a guy who's like, he missed weight by 7 pounds. I'm like, he didn't try. He didn't even try. Like, or he has no discipline whatsoever.
And that's why I love when Rogan's one of the few guys that will say, because everybody's always like, oh, Cormier looks really good at the heavier weight. And
no, he doesn't.
Rogan will say
fat. Like Daniel Cormier's a fat guy.
No, but I'm saying he looks good like as a fighter. He looks good like he's obviously winning fights.
He's a good fighter,
but when Rogan says like he could make 170 or whatever, and it's like, yeah,
I don't think he could.
Are you serious?
I think Cormier is like
he has
bad genetics.
He can make 85, I think.
I think his genetics just suck. Like I don't.
Does his diet suck?
Both.
Yeah,
it's his diet, dude.
It's 100%.
Listen, okay, I don't see anybody in Africa or a poor country overweight because it's like, oh, you have bad genetics. No, when you don't fucking eat.
Did you say Africa because Daniel Cormier is black?
Yes. No, I said Africa as an example of starving people.
Listen,
or the Middle East. Let's talk about
if DC took Herbalife, he would definitely get down to 170.
Herbalife, is that one of those fucking pyramid scheme companies? Oh, jeez.
Dude, Jenny Craig, all of that shit.
Whatever.
Blue Apron.
Do you know? There's a good documentary on. I think it's on Herbalife.
Holding pads for him.
Wow, Anderson Silva looks really tall in that. Who's this guy?
6'2", 6'3"?
Bam Bam.
Who is Bam? Oh, this is the Hawaiian
shoey
guy. Right? The guy with all the tattoos.
No, he drinks out of the shoe.
Yeah, the Australian with all the tattoos. Yeah. Yeah, because that's very Australian to drink out of the shoe.
Yeah, I guess. I'll never go to Australia. It's way too far.
Oh, he was on The Fighter and the Kid, and I think he made Brendan do it.
Yeah, I think so.
But my point is that like
good. I've never listened to that.
It's all right. Yeah, and so what I was saying is that like so back in the day when Dave, my co-host, used to do a lot of podcasts with me, like we're both into diet, nutrition, exercise. And so we'd get into the conversation about diet and nutrition quite often. And, we would talk about fat shaming and all this stuff. And like, how people get
fat fucks.
Well, the thing is that it's this idea of like, oh no, being fat's beautiful and all this stuff. And I don't think you should make fun of anybody because of the way they look. But I do think it's not healthy to kind of tell them that it's okay to be unhealthy and overweight. And it's like, you shouldn't just be okay. Like you shouldn't, it's almost like you're enforcing a crappy lifestyle, and to me, there's nothing wrong with saying like, hey, you should like, this isn't healthy. Like, this isn't okay to be like, when you see these what do they call them? Like the heavy swimsuit models and
the plus size.
Yeah. The plus size women. It's like,
some of them are hot.
Well, they are, but imagine how hot they'd be if they were healthy, instead of just eating what you want. It's like, it's almost like saying, I'm going to eat what I want and be fat and unhealthy. And you should just accept me the way I am. It's like, I get it. Like, I'm not going to dislike you, but I'm not going to pretend you don't look unhealthy and that you're not going to, your joints aren't going to eventually hurt. And you're not going to, how dare you?
How dare you?
What did you say?
I told him to grab a glass.
Oh, yeah. Have a drink, dude.
How dare me?
Yeah, we'll do that.
No, I meant how dare you for having a side conversation.
Motherfuckers.
I was trying to keep it a discreet side conversation.
but
no, it is.
but back to what my point was, not to interrupt you, but my point was that
of course
I got a lot of shit. I would get a lot of shit for that. Like fans that were writing me saying, I listen to the show all the time. I always agree with you. I'm a huge fan of, but I've tried to lose weight, and you know,
so
and I know
don't
firsthand, you know, that's how I know they are fans and they listen because they're too fat to go exercise. They're probably just home listening to the show. But the thing is that and I don't want to lose those fans because they're probably home now listening, and because they don't have any friends.
Your biggest
so
listeners.
I'm kidding. Literally
the biggest listeners.
But my point is, like, it's not to make like
pounds per click, right? That's how it works.
There's definitely people who have a harder time losing weight than others, but the bottom line is that if you have, and this is where, like, okay, you wrestled, and I was into lifting weights at a young age. Like, if you do something at a young age that requires discipline, like, those life lessons and that discipline goes such a long way when you're older.
That
and
every
steroids
kid
and
should
protein. That's all you need.
Steroids and protein.
That's it.
I think that every kid should wrestle.
I think
at least one
every
season.
Kid should do
and when you say wrestle,
I don't think steroids
finish
is
the
the
sentence.
option.
Every kid should wrestle with me in a onesie.
And me and my priest in a onesie.
with just
in a Jello pool. No, but like I mean, I started wrestling in 10th grade, and it's the best thing you have for discipline and
I
just
think
focus. Really,
well, I see it with people who've never done organized sports or has never never.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it applies to other sports. I wrestled and played baseball, so I couldn't really.
Well, see, I think when I was into weightlifting, when I was in my teens and early 20s, and I was really like hardcore into weightlifting, like, I would do anything to try to get any gains whatsoever. So, like, if it meant like eating a certain way, I would give it a try. Like, my wife and I are always talking about how, like, literally, if there's enough research and science, and I did, got into any type of diet, like whatever it may be, there's no diet that I couldn't like try for a couple months, no problem. Like, if I say, like, I was talking to her about doing the carnivore diet because I was just curious about it, and I've been doing a lot of research on it, and
that's all I've been doing.
Really?
Yeah, he just slays cocks. That's
slaying cocks.
But Dr. Sean Baker,
cocks.
who's the guy who's like made it famous or whatever, and Chris Bell, who's been on my podcast, who did Bigger, Stronger, Faster, he's doing it now, and like all these guys, and Jordan Peterson's doing it, and his daughter.
Digestive wise, it's a tough one.
No, it's not. I don't. Why that doesn't even make. See, this is the thing. I think in theory, like everybody says that, like in theory, they're like, oh, that sounds really hard. There's nobody who has a problem digesting meat. Because you think about it, for the longest time,
nobody.
I think everybody has a problem digesting.
I think it's harder.
No,
it is. I think
how
I agree with.
I don't at all. Have you ever just ate meat? I have. And
that's literally like pretty much my diet.
And you have a hard time digesting it?
No, but
okay,
I feel like it makes
point.
you more sluggish and tired.
Well, probably because it's more filling.
I don't know. I'm not a fucking doctor.
No, but I'm okay. So for just letting everybody know, this is a little bro science, but
science.
But there is something to like. Okay, so if you
come out to DMX,
my point is, and Dr. Sean Baker makes a good point. Like if somebody says, "Hey, I'm a vegan and I don't eat meat," like that sounds completely fine. Like nobody goes, "Oh, that sounds crazy." But if I say I only eat meat, everybody's like, "Oh, that sounds crazy," and it's like. You think about it, like people have been killing animals and eating meat since the beginning of time. Like that's,
It's a fucking main event already.
I'm into it.
You're into what?
Put my ears down.
Why? Because you want to hear Silva's walkout music?
I did, but I don't hear it.
What's he got going?
What does he usually come out to?
Comes
Linkin
out to
Park or something?
the DMX song. Ain't No Sunshine. Doesn't come out to it anymore.
Guess not.
No.
Guess
no,
not.
he doesn't.
He's gonna lose.
Yeah,
loser.
But my point is, I think a lot of people say that, but I don't know anybody who actually has a hard time digesting meat.
My wife.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh, but is it what she's eating with it? Because my thing is right. So like, my wife, same thing. She kind of thought the same thing, and I know people who are like that, but they're eating like rice and potatoes and carbs with the meat. If you only ate the meat and remove the things that are actually hard to digest.
No, I swear to. So she's tried everything from eating rice with it to eating just like
a salad,
like chicken with salad or chicken with spinach or whatever. Doesn't matter. Whenever she eats meat, she just
really
has a hard time. Yeah.
How drunk is Donald Cerrone right now?
So
I'm gonna get on his level. Here I go.
So what does she eat? Does she not eat meat? Is she like a vegan?
No, she does, but she's
She
just
doesn't like the way
cautious
she
of
feels.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's I think crucial and people really kind of don't pay too much attention to is gut health and like
Right.
probiotics, prebiotics, all that stuff, and
That stuff's
kombucha.
super important.
Oh yeah, because it really has a huge effect on your ability to digest any food, really, and you never know what triggers it and whatnot. I mean, I have friends who can't have coffee because it makes them, and I'm like, that's a gut problem. Like that's the acid in the coffee is causing some, and it happened to me like a couple years ago, or like a year or two ago. I was just having tons of caffeine.
Silva's looking a little soft to me.
He doesn't look that bad though.
Well, he's
Not
43.
awful for 43, I guess.
He's 43. Yeah.
Well, remember what he looked like when he fought DC?
Oh, off the couch.
Dude, he looked like he just rolled right out of bed.
He
and
literally
fought.
did. They were like all from that fight the day before.
And you know what's crazy is that DC respect him so much that he didn't attempt to strike with him. He's like, I'm gonna take him
Hump
down
him
and
for 3 rounds. That was the worst fight I've ever saw in
Yeah.
my life.
Well, a lot of people booed him, but I mean, if you're DC, you kind of don't have a choice because you're like, okay, if you lose to a guy who literally just got off the couch to fight
If they
you,
stood, what is it, 50-50? But if Cormier just takes him down, it's 100% victory.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why would
Why
you even
risk it?
entertain the only way you could lose?
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, we haven't got nearly as buzzed as I expected us to.
I've been doing my job.
That's what happens when there's only
Do
3
your
fucking
job.
fights.
Cheers. What are you drinking? Did you guys try the
I'm trying
Woodford?
the town
I don't do
ranch.
Pussy?
Did you try that one I
That's what it
brought?
is.
I have a bottle of that upstairs. Or
Oh,
is
not that one.
No, this one's different. I have Hudson whiskey.
This one's really good.
So what makes this one different than the other one? Did you see these dudes almost cry at the weigh-ins?
Yes, they both
Yeah,
did
I did
actually
see it.
cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Stylebender. Like as a fighter, I'm still undecided on him as a person. Like I'm like, is he just trying to be like arrogant and cocky because he knows it sells? Or
No,
and
I
it-
think he's just the
He
way
talks
he is.
pretty good though.
no, he does. Well, the thing is, he was trying to be a hard ass towards Anderson, and Anderson's so nice and polite that he just like I almost
He
felt
just
like
bowed to him and he's like,
Yeah.
okay, fuck
Yeah.
it. Let's just shake hands.
because even during the press conference, the pre-fight press conference,
That guy's so jacked. John Cena's body double right there. Nobody's gonna know what I'm talking about, but that's cool.
they're just the Australian guy who
Das Boot.
who definitely shaved his chest before this fight, and he's the only guy who has the buttons unbuttoned.
Yeah. And Cerrone is so hammered.
Is that Chiesa right next
Yeah. Or a homeless guy. Either way.
to
Chiesa is the most overrated fighter. He always gets good.
No, he's not
No,
over.
he's pretty
he's
good.
a,
No,
he's a
he's
good
not.
fighter.
Who is he beat?
He beat Condit.
That was loud. He did, but so did everybody the last couple fights.
Yeah, that's true. That's like
I feel bad because I love Carlos Condit. He's one of
Yeah,
my
I do too,
long,
yeah.
like I've been a fan of his forever. I love his style.
fighting makes me just so sad. Like my favorite guys just start getting
I
their
know.
asses kicked.
I just
I'm
don't
like,
wanna see-
Fuck, man.
That's because we're getting older.
Yeah, it's
They're
the end of an
getting
era,
older,
so
and-
the new
Like,
school's coming.
At least
in,
this guy's gonna win again in a couple days.
Oh,
No, he's
yeah.
not.
Crow
Who-
Cop.
Broke
wait,
up. He's
who-
fighting Big Country.
Yeah.
He's gonna stomp on that motherfucker.
Maybe.
He's probably gonna get knocked out.
Well, then I guess I'll suck your dick if that happens.
And we'll be live for that podcast.
It's gonna be a long podcast.
He crawled out, so that's definitely a loss. So who you guys got? Do you have
I got
Style
I
Bender?
hate it.
Yeah,
I
I
hate to
did
say
too.
it. I hate to
I
say
have
it.
Style Bender,
Bender.
but I
Look
would
at
bet
Kelvin.
Silva on this.
Wait,
What do
was
you got?
Kelvin?
He
Why was
just
Kelvin holding the
a
belt?
Yeah.
Why?
You got Silva?
Wait, you guys notice that?
I'm rooting for Silva.
I'm going with Silva.
I'm rooting for Silva too. I want Silva to win.
ET, phone home.
So I'm not gonna jinx it. I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay, whatever that means. I feel like that's the
Damn,
political
look at that.
way of
He's
approaching
younger,
this.
has a
And
longer
you could
reach.
cheer for either victory.
Yeah.
He's going to be the faster fighter. He's going to have the better.
It looks like
Maybe.
he's fighting his kid. It really does.
But you know what? If you watch Israel fight, I mean, he looks like Anderson Silva. The way he moves and
He-
gets out of the
he
way.
says
and-
that he took a lot of his.
Oh, you could see in his style, absolutely. Bruce Buffer, he did his last line of coke of the night, and he's ready to announce this.
He's probably gonna smoke.
I want
Anderson
Bruce Buffer
Silva.
to announce my funeral, dude.
Are you ready?
He'll probably start doing it if the UFC ever folds. He'll need a new
Just do
gig.
funerals.
Yeah.
And
In this box, Scotty too hottie. Who's this corner? Just 3 random guys.
Yeah.
Whoever was willing to
Everybody's-
fly to Australia.
Yeah, no shit. It wouldn't be me.
Dude, I still
Stylebender
can't believe
showed
that
up
that
with 3 white
Whitaker
guys.
Whitaker made it to the day of the fight and this happened. Like he just weighed in yesterday and looked fine. And
Yeah, I don't understand how you go through all of that and then
like
after you weigh in everything, you
literally
got like less than 24 hours between the weigh-in and the fight. You're like emergency surgery,
that's what I don't
can't
get. Like,
fight. Like what
Yeah,
the
it doesn't
hell?
doesn't pass a smell test to me.
No,
and the thing with me, it's
And
like
it's hometown.
you
Yeah,
figure
right.
after making
probably
weigh-ins,
drove there
your only task from like the weigh-ins to the fight is like resting
eating.
and eating and like rehydrating and maybe warming up a little bit, but you're not doing anything to like you would think to hurt yourself.
Yeah, that's what you would think, but you would see fighters who are doing things that don't make any sense.
Because
But
some
He
dumb
probably
ass told him.
suplexed one of his friends
Off the
and
top
just
rope,
tore
yeah.
his shit. His face looks the same. His body looks
Yeah, no, he hasn't aged at all. He actually
softy,
looks.
softy.
Yeah, but he's never looked.
You ever
that
noticed that?
ripped,
You ever
that-
What's
noticed
this guy doing?
You've never seen Anderson with a cut on his face?
no, I mean,
Never.
I haven't seen him
No.
really take a
That's
bunch of
true.
damage in a fight like where he looks all messed up after
No,
the
he.
fight.
I mean, the fights he lost, he just got clipped, knocked out. or-
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
His legs snapped in half.
yeah.
Yeah.
Get over it. That was like 2007.
Look how easily he did that. Like these guys are such freak athletes. We take sometimes I look at the the pre-fight the showcase thing that they do when they kind of just warm up the
Yeah.
pre-fight warm and like I remember when watch
It's disgusting.
I remember watching
Have some whiskey.
Ronda Rousey doing hers, and I'm like, oh, Ronda kind of looks, like she's not that athletic, and she's doing the same thing, dude. She's doing like one hand freaking
She's a judo Olympic
cartwheels and
medalist.
backflips, and like
Yeah, I think something that people don't take into account is
they're the best.
not
of
only
the
are they
best.
very skilled fighters, but they're also elite athletes.
Most
a lot
of
of these guys are
There we
Division
go.
1 athletes at their colleges, or they're Olympians, or they're not just guys
Here
who
we go.
showed up at a gym and started training. They're another class of athlete.
Here we go.
Whoa.
So round 1, 4:55 in round 1, Anderson Silva against Stylebender. Okay, I don't like the way Anderson Silva looks already.
Doughy, dodo.
It makes you nervous, dude.
Yeah, because he's like not even like I'm not even sure. He almost looks like he's nervous. Like he doesn't have the confidence in his.
Anderson Silva
over-
rocking that cormier bod.
Am I overanalyzing this?
No, I don't think
Maybe.
so. And I think I like that Silva looks like that because it shows that he's respecting Stylebender in this, and he's not going to drop the lead hand and
stupid
think that
rope-a-dope
he's fast
bullshit.
enough to slip every punch and do all that. Keeping his hands up is a good sign. It means he respects him.
Dude, him standing across from Stylebender, he looks so milky, like milk chocolatey. Right?
Goodness. Nougaty finish.
I have no
Like,
idea what
the
you're talking about. He looks like he has caramel inside of him.
If I was Silva, I'd keep my hands up nice and high the whole time.
If I was any fighter, I would keep my hands up.
Yeah, but especially when
I
you're
want
giving
Vinny
up
in my
20
corner.
Yeah,
Next time I have a fight.
Thanks.
exactly.
He's like, only if I'm fighting Stylebender, I'm gonna keep.
I'm
my
gonna
hands
fight
up.
again. And you guys could be my corner.
But if I'm fighting
okay?
Rumble,
Imagine us being Ben's corner.
I'm coming back. I'm probably not making 155 pounds ever again, but
he's like,
do
I'm
it.
fighting heavyweight.
yeah.
Where's Rumble?
I would be
Rumble.
I would be arguing with you about who text messaged who on the last time we hung out.
Be like,
You'd be on the
"Bro,
bottom like,
You
"Hey,
blew
Ben,
me
just-
off.
just
No,
to let
no,
you know,
you blew
Ben."
me off.
as
Remember
the
that
guy.
day on the podcast, you piece of shit.
He
So-
caught Silva with a little kick there, and there was nothing on it. See, what is Silva doing?
Yeah, but what is?
You know what's funny? He's always been more of a counter striker, and it
Yeah.
looks like he's actually trying to engage, which is
I know Anderson Silva looks doughier, but he does look bigger than that other guy.
Yeah.
Right, but he's obviously the slower fighter, and
Which is
he's
weird because
staying
he's
in
always
the
been so
pocket
much
with somebody who's
faster.
well. That's the
much
thing, and his
faster than him.
style, his speed was so crucial to his success. Like his
Yes.
ability to see things coming, move, and then hit you.
Yes, yes.
Did you guys see the first his first UFC fight versus Chris Lieben.
I'm sure I have, but it was a long time ago.
It was so long ago, and Chris Lieben was like, "I'm gonna fuck this guy up so bad,
dude." Anderson looks better than you guys are.
As he gets knocked out.
He got hit. He didn't get knocked out. Oh, that's not good.
Well,
because when you're his age, you have to assume like it won't take much to.
We're almost his age, which is so sad.
Oh, he's laughing.
See, now pick up your hands. That's what. My whole complaint about Silva is you're 43, you're not 28.
He did that
Fight
at
like you're
28,
43.
though.
Fight like you're 43.
And that's go to Bellator?
Yes.
Fight like you're 43.
Fight Hoist Gracie
Fedor.
in
I'm
Bellator.
telling him to fight Fedor.
No, fight Hoist Gracie.
First of all, Anderson Silva against all those old dudes in Bellator, he'd be kicking their ass. Like if he was fighting Fedor,
if he was fighting
Ken Shamrock,
because they got him fighting against like legit dudes, like who are
this
at the
isn't
top
even
of the
fair. He's fighting a guy 15 years younger than him.
No,
somebody's
he's like
mouthpiece came out. Yeah, that's what it was.
No, he's like timeout. Anderson's old. He needs a breather.
Yeah.
I mean, Anderson is showing game. He's landing some stuff, some counter punches.
Oh, this is only 3 rounds.
Obviously, style bender respects.
I know. Why
Silva's
is that? It's a main
power.
event. Why?
Well,
because it wasn't supposed to be.
Oh, so they haven't trained? Who gives a shit? These guys are fighters.
You're just gonna slap on 10
you're
extra
just gonna be like,
minutes.
here.
Yeah, but if it goes to the 10 minutes,
fuck it.
Okay, so you think
more.
You think if these guys went to the 3rd round and it was a close fight, they wouldn't want to go another 2 rounds?
Not me.
Not you, but
maybe not Silva.
Dude, I'll tell you right now, if it keeps going this way, you might start losing some confidence.
Who's that?
Adesanya.
Yeah, and he's going to get a little bit tired
because he's doing a lot more moving.
Even it out a little
he's
bit.
Moving around a lot. He's throwing a lot of.
I will say, Anderson Silva. You think he's getting hit with some good hits, but it doesn't seem to phase him at one bit yet.
No.
Well, I mean, even if they aren't phasing him, there's people scoring it,
and
so.
it'll add up. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, his leg's gonna eventually get red,
right?
And he's already switching stances.
Oh,
ooh, that was old Anderson right there.
He want to dap for it?
No, I think he was saying that it was so close. Yeah.
Oh.
I think that Silva can't continue to fight like this, staying in the pocket, and he's just not fast enough.
I think you're underestimating him.
Me too. I feel like he looks really good.
Really? That looked really good?
Yeah.
Well, it's not like the other guy's hitting him.
No, that's true.
Here's your play-by-play, homies.
Well, let's be honest. There's a lot of people who decide not to order this who are probably listening to us to see if we can tell. Whoa.
Wow.
Oh.
Silva must have definitely was expecting that.
What is this?
This is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, it's like you have the old Silva and you have like the next Silva.
Wannabe Silva.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Good, man.
It does seem like almost like a passing of the torch. I mean, he's style bender sitting there showcasing on him.
Silva had like what?
Why are you
title
looking at that
defenses
shit?
I don't know.
In a row?
Dude, if you
Silva
I don't
10
know how
title
many
defenses
title
in a row.
defenses.
I could see
like
if you had like a podcast, you just constantly checking your
Demetrius
Twitter,
Johnson
like what are
beat
people
it,
saying? What are, it does get it.
Did
it is
Johnson beat the Silva's title defense reign? Anderson Silva had
16 fights, I think.
I think he won 16 in a row. I don't know how
16 in a
many he
row.
won as a champion though.
14. I think
So-
I think they gave him 2 fights and then
Scott
he
was
fought
saying
for-
the winner of this fight's Rumble.
yeah, for sure.
Well, they were saying that this is like a title contention fight,
Oh yeah, that's their
which I don't see why.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Well, first of all,
I don't know who else is at middleweight.
Yeah. Well, if Whitaker can't fight for a while, why not the winner of this
Interim?
fight Kelvin and then do an interim belt?
Yeah, for sure.
If it might be a while till. I mean, you can't strip Whitaker. The dude fought fucking Romero twice, who's a fucking freak, and won twice.
Savage.
He had zero justification to fight him a second time. Like, you already beat him. Like, anybody can lose to Romero at any time because he's so explosive that to even take a chance of fighting him again, like, I don't know. I give him a lot of credit, man. He was and you look at
agree.
and he's one of those fighters that like he's like Max Holloway. Like, they've grown so much. You look at the old fights against like Stephen Thompson and Whitaker and like some of his older fights, and you see him today. It's like this is the
he
same
lost
dude
to some
anymore.
guys. You're like,
Yeah.
how did he lose to him?
Because he's
He
been
looks
fighting
totally
forever, and I
different
just
at
never
middleweight.
paid attention to him that much because he was never that good, and then he slowly started getting really, really good. Speaking of good, I don't remember if this was when that fight was, but did you guys remember that knockout with Jorge when he went up with the elbow?
Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that.
Dude, that was, I don't know why that just came to mind, because I kind of feel like I'm going to see a really exciting knockout in this fight.
Yeah.
But
That was versus Korean Zombie.
dude, that was
Yeah.
and when you see it in a replay and you see the fact that he actually intentionally did that.
Yar Rodriguez,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's what it is. Oh boy.
Don't do that, Anderson.
Don't.
Yeah, literally, do not do that.
Last time
Anderson.
he did that, he
The
got clipped.
slipping with your hands at your waist is not going to happen.
Anyone that wants to be a fighter, don't follow Anderson Silva's defense strategy.
Imagine Anderson Silva I wonder if he has his own school for young kids.
Just drop your hands
down.
Eat these punches.
Eat the punches.
Laugh.
And then when you fall, you punch it back.
Yeah.
Stop bang.
When your vision's blurry, throw strikes back.
When you fall, act like you sleep.
Your face is a presunto. Salty and strong.
Yeah,
Oh,
some sort of
this
Portuguese
fucking fight
dish.
makes
I
me
will,
nervous.
Correct.
dude. I will say his ability to still move out of a lot of his strikes is
I
impressive.
think he's winning
It
this
is
fight.
impressive.
I don't know
Agreed.
what you guys are watching, but
This is actually a much closer fight than I expected.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I didn't think Silva was going to win,
He's-
but I would have
he's
put money
hitting
on
him.
him.
oh,
Oh,
clinching him.
clinching.
They say power's the last thing to go, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because you got that
Watch
dad
Major
power.
Leaguers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, no, don't do that bullshit.
He's doing the Macarena or something. What was that?
Yeah.
He's doing the Anderson Silva vintage knock me out because I'm throwing my arms around like a weirdo.
Yeah, but you know what? It's kind of a good
Ex
sign if
facto, I'm
you're
your boss.
because it means that Anderson Silva is confident. It means that he because it'd be really easy when you see these older fighters to like you see at certain point like they kind of feel like I can't beat this younger guy, you know, and then they just seem like they feel like they're outmatched, and you can kind of see their
I'm
confidence.
gonna tell you right now, it doesn't look like those leg kicks are doing shit.
The one that
And Anderson keeps
And
still
Desano's
going forward,
landing.
man.
he's eating them.
Yeah, I think
Silva's eating
Anderson's
those.
power
Is
is
that what you mean?
definitely something Adesanya respects, but he's not the faster fighter.
Look
But
at
I do think this second round is even.
And I also think kind of his antics that he's doing is actually confusing him a little bit. Like
A
he doesn't know
little bit,
what
yeah.
to do. Like
Yeah.
should I kick? Should I punch? Like I'm a little.
I never thought about it, but like throwing your arms around randomly probably fucks with your vision.
Because how do
Yeah,
you
it
train to
fucks
that?
with your head a little
Do you
bit.
have a training partner that runs at you like
Yeah.
this? Like
And then throws like random punches 1 and 2 out of there.
you can't really train for that.
I guess, yeah.
Look at that, huh? A spinning calf kick.
I am
I
actually.
wish this fight was 5 rounds
Told ya.
from the
Should have been.
get-go, though.
It should have been 5 rounds. I mean, it's a main event. Once you change to the main event, they should have negotiated. Hey,
Yeah, but it's not fair if they didn't
Yeah,
train
that's-
for
that's
5
tough,
rounds.
but and honestly, how much different is your training for 5 rounds?
It's a lot.
Is it
Way different.
It's a
Really?
fucking lot.
Are you crazy?
for 2 more rounds?
Yeah,
For
man.
10 minutes.
That's 10 minutes.
Yeah, but how do you train for that? Like you still train as hard as you can until you get
do
fatigued.
more.
Imagine trying to
I don't know,
sprint
I-
as hard as you can for 10 minutes.
Just go. Yeah.
It's like 10 times worse than that.
I would say that, you just cut them bigger checks and they would
Yeah.
say
yeah,
yes.
they would
you
do
know?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
They'd
too.
probably just fight slower for 3 rounds.
No, my point is I get you train a little differently when you know you're fighting for 5 rounds. But my point is that at the end of the day, you're still like
It's
if you're training for a
harder.
fight, you should still be training
Anderson's going for it at least.
as hard as you
I also
can.
feel like
He's
the
aggressive.
video is like skipping fast.
No,
forward.
that was the fight.
Yeah, that's Anderson. He's just so
Anderson
fast.
just sped it up.
I think the stream's kind of weird.
How dare you?
Oh,
I think he won that round.
yeah. I think
it's
Anderson
1-1.
might have
I
taken
actually
that
think it's 1-1
round,
too.
yeah.
I think you should try that Hudson.
Oh, I will. Whoa, hold on.
I'll do-
Oof.
Did I mention I have a basketball game tomorrow too?
don't care.
Table, guys, table. I know I got it. Motherfucker.
Bro,
You want to piss off the listeners?
if you need a point guard,
Did you
Don't
play
call
that?
me.
Did you ever play basketball?
a little bit.
If you ever need a cheerleader,
2 years.
I'm in.
You know how tempted I was to write, I didn't know your daughter smoked cigarettes?
Oh my god.
Thanks.
Man, did you see the text message? He's like, hey, if you need a cheerleader at your game who smokes cigarettes and has a beard, let me know. And then his daughter's cheerlead. So I was gonna write. I didn't know.
Trying to say that my daughters have beards?
Well, that's why I didn't write it, because I'm like, oh, that's mean to his daughters. I love his
Like
daughters.
double mean.
I'm like,
mean.
I wanted it to be funny, but I didn't want to insult your daughters because I love them. I wanted to insult you because I know you can take it.
No, but back to your original question, I suck at basketball. I can touch the rim though.
Can you?
Yeah.
You got little hops. So this is interesting, man. This is actually a way more exciting fight than I expected.
Yeah, definitely. I thought Silva was going to go down in the first round.
Wow. No respect.
No
dog.
respect.
No respect.
No respect for the Brazilians.
Do you know he has a beat dog before every fight?
A what? A beat talk in the Samal?
Yeah, and a small pineapple small.
Doesn't GSP eat like Big Macs before a fight?
No.
That's what he said.
GSP?
Yeah.
Fuck no.
GSP is like
swear to
so
God.
disciplined. It's crazy.
No, he said that's his thing. He eats like 2 Big
No.
Macs.
No,
before
I
a
think
fight.
you're reading some article on LeBron James and you.
Pretty
confused
sure
I don't
it.
even think
he's
you're-
the one who said it.
I don't know what you're.
Oh my god,
Oh!
this is hilarious. This is like
I don't even care who wins this fight.
I feel like we're watching two Charlie Chaplins fight.
Racist.
It's like wait,
You can tell Silva got an eye poke though. His eyes
Yeah,
swelling.
This
his
up.
eyes
is
swell.
like
he did
like
get
a
poked in the
motherfucker.
eye, and Herb
It's like
Dean's like, I don't give a fuck.
It's like a silent movie.
Well, Silva said he didn't
Anderson
want any
Silva's
time.
looking real old right now.
What are you talking about? He's saying
He's looking
No.
a little bit David Loiza. Huh?
Yeah, that's
well, he
That's
needs to
a
get out of
deep
that
cut.
corner. That's not a good idea. How about he's like, no, you come to the corner.
I don't
You
know why
come in.
Silva wants
Oh,
that.
don't do that.
Silva.
Don't.
This is how Silva gets
This-
himself in trouble.
No,
He
this is how the
challenges
other
guys to
guy
sit in the
loses.
pocket.
But like, don't come into his where
For-
he tells you to.
Yeah, but
Don't come into the lion's cave.
I honestly
Simba.
think he just wants something to lean on just in case he gets. What is he trying to tell him to do anyways? Like
He
come
wants
closer?
him to get in the pocket with him and
Wow.
He's like,
trade.
you'll come
Yeah, but
here.
that's an awful
Staring
idea. You're up
contest.
against the cage. Why
Yeah,
is it?
I think it's a bad idea.
Why
for
does he keep
Silva,
touching?
but
Is he doing coke?
Silva might
Oh,
think that
that's
he's
smart.
taken, Adesanya's best shot already.
I think
so,
Anderson Silva would rather spend most of this round talking than fighting.
Yeah,
with
that's
his-
one thing that's always annoyed me
with his-
about Silva. Is he
with
sits
his-
there and he doesn't finish guys that
He's
I know,
definitely not
back
on
in the
juice
day.
anymore.
That's the stuff that drives me nuts because it's like you're that much better than everybody else.
When he
and,
fought-
and you're not, and you're letting this shit go to a decision.
Yes,
Like you should,
yeah.
if you're humiliating this guy
When
in
he
the fight, you
fought-
should have knocked him out.
Bisbing, I was like, you could have knocked this dude out like 11 times, and he just kept fucking with him. And then he lost the decision. And you looked at Bisbing's head, and it was like his face was literally like falling off of him. He must have needed like 150 stitches after that fight.
Yeah,
I have
mean,
this like love hate
more
relationship with
action out of
Bisping.
this.
Like I love his toughness, and wasn't like the most naturally talented or physically
Oh hell
gifted
no!
fighter, but
Hardest worker probably,
Yeah,
though.
and super tough.
Too tough.
and
yeah,
I feel
probably too
like
tough.
he was a company man too. He probably took every fight
Oh yeah, dude.
that he
That's
was
why he's
offered,
got
no
Hey,
matter
but
what
let's
the
be
notice
the
was.
But let's be honest,
ESPN.
He won the belt against Rockhold, but he really didn't defend it against anybody except GSP who beat him. And
Right,
Romero deserved to fight him, and he wouldn't fight Romero.
No, he fought. So he won it off.
Remember, I love you.
Did
Bisping.
he never
I
defended
love
it
you.
beyond Rockhold
No, he only fought GSP. He like
right after that?
yeah. Well, it
I
was
didn't know
not
that.
right. It was like forever after because he didn't fight anybody.
It would have been amazing if GSP had fought Romero.
Oh God,
Yeah,
just slaughtered.
yeah. I don't think GSP had any intention of fighting a real 85er after that.
Dude, he won't even fight Woodley.
No.
Yeah, but do you guys remember how good he looked in that fight? Like for being off that long.
I just
Yeah.
saw that fight
5 years.
yesterday. I watched
dude,
it
he
again.
looks
I was
so
like, holy
good
shit.
for not fighting. Like you look at him like this is like classic GSP. Like he just smarter, just kept to it. Had a great strategy.
He had like one round that he got hit a lot though,
Yeah. that
Yeah.
was
because his face
the
kind of
second
looked
round?
messed
Or
up.
when he took him down. I think it was.
He did get hit. Yeah. I think he was getting elbowed.
He was getting elbowed from the top.
Who the fuck won this fight?
Whoa,
Well,
whoa!
you keep getting hit in the face
That's
like that.
not a
Even
good
if it doesn't
strategy.
hurt. Again, the judges are gonna
I
score it.
I don't know who won this
Yeah,
fight.
come on,
Probably the
I would
younger
give those-
guy.
I would give it to Adesanya.
Adesanya.
Just based
Yeah,
on
probably.
that exchange.
Just
Volume.
just on aggression.
Yeah.
He's pushing.
And
Yeah,
for Silva,
volume.
maybe it's a victory just to get to a
Not get
decision.
knocked out by your younger self.
Yeah. you know, and
So-
he gave everybody what they wanted. Which
Shang
was,
Tsung.
you know,
So Israel won
Full
the
fight.
first round. Silva possibly won the second, and then obviously lost this one.
yeah.
I don't even know.
And-
I
And again, I don't think Silva really
on,
wants a
guys.
finish. Look, it's
I don't think
you know,
he cares.
no.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
mean,
he
there
does
was
either.
2 minutes left, and he was still looking to counter punch and hit on the outside. And I don't really think he wanted to finish.
Well, I think this is definitely a win for Anderson and a loss for Israel, even if he wins
He's
the fight.
retiring.
Because
Yes.
you didn't. I mean,
This is the end.
you're fighting
Anderson
a 40-something
Silva's
year
never
old
fighting
Anderson
again.
Silva. You're supposed to be the next up and coming star, and you couldn't do better than that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think
Well,
that Silva was happy just to get to the finish line.
Yeah,
Really.
But
and not get humiliated.
And
'cause-
not get
so
humiliated.
he
I don't think
Yeah.
Adesanya really.
impressed you.
No, I
No.
agree. I think Adesanya comes looking out of this fight. You know, I think he takes a hit because I think a lot of people, including the UFC management, wanted to see him really make a statement against Silva, and I don't think he did. I mean, he's going to win a decision, sure.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, but I think that people are just underestimating Anderson Silva. I still think he's dangerous, and that's
Yeah.
he is dangerous.
like you
definitely.
can't shit on the other guy by winning by decision. I feel like he's still like Anderson Silva. I don't care how old he is, he's still a badass.
Definitely a badass for sure. But it's not like Silva was winning a bunch of fights before this. I think he
No.
was like 1-4 or something with his win.
But like, what's he gonna do? Try to walk through Anderson Silva? That's not gonna work.
and again, Anderson.
Well, he could have, I don't know, taken a shot, pushed him against the fence. Like, there's ways you can look better against Anderson. He played Anderson Silva's game, which is sit on the outside, take pot shots. You know,
Yeah, he definitely won. The other guy,
yeah, Adesanya won this
the
fight, no
younger
doubt.
guy, definitely won by decision.
but still, you're a
Yeah.
20-something-year-old that's supposed to be.
I don't see him going in there fighting Whitaker and winning.
With
No.
that bullshit strategy,
No.
no.
I don't see him fighting Romero and winning. I don't
No.
see him
Nope.
fighting Gastelum
Romero will
and
just
winning.
run right through him.
Well, that's
that
what I'm
guy's
saying.
skinny as shit. Dude,
No,
my ankle's fucking bigger than his bicep.
okay, so let me be the devil's advocate because Stylebender actually did look good at his prior fights to this, and
A couple of them.
yeah. So do you think maybe he was ahead of the tip because of like the respect you have
Maybe.
for Anderson?
I'll
That
give him a little bit of that.
you know you still respect him so much that you couldn't fight as freely as maybe you wanted
Yes.
to.
Absolutely not. But
Anderson Silva is one of the few fighters that has
Just
an
mystique.
intimidation
yeah.
factor and a mystique, despite, you know, he may
And
not
look at this.
be
I mean,
as,
this kind of shows you how much they
yeah.
respect each other.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, they're both crying away-ins for God's sakes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they try like
that's it.
Stylebender.
We'll never see Anderson Silva fight again.
Yeah, they're pretty much gonna go back to the hotel and scissor each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
That's when the ground game's going to come into play.
It's so crazy to see Anderson Silva like not win a lot or like not win for like 7 years because he was just destroying guys so
Dude,
badly.
I remember at one
like
time
the
it was almost
Matrix.
like he's gonna win again. Like
Yeah.
you almost. But that's the amazing thing about about MMA is that as quickly as you get on top, like you just
Oh,
become
yeah,
a
you
nobody
crumble.
so quickly.
But the funny thing with Anderson is I think if he went into fights and said, I'm just going to win on points every time, I think he could do it. Just jabbing guys, straight kicking, staying on the outside. It'd be boring, but he could do it. He's that
well, he
good.
showed that he
Can't
still
get
has.
it.
He might not have the quickness in regards to his striking, but when it comes down to just dodging
This
and
dude is so
moving,
skinny.
he could
Yeah.
still.
I mean, Floyd Mayweather became, you know, one of the best
He must be
boxers
like
of our
7
time.
feet
Just,
tall.
you know, on defense and, you know,
That forehead,
points.
though.
Yeah, his forehead is 14 pounds.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
So if you're Israel, you're fighting Anderson Silva, one of the greatest of all time. You are now the headline of the pay-per-view. I almost feel like you got to do better than that. Like, I don't know. And you're also from New Zealand, and you're fighting in Australia.
he's African.
No, I thought he's from New Zealand.
He's
From Africa, I thought.
he's
No.
not from
New Zealand, Africa.
Yeah, he's
What's
from
that? What's that green?
Oh, that flag. Yeah, but he's. I think.
Nigeria.
Yeah, that's Africa.
No, but I think. Okay, let me check. Let me figure this shit
Yeah,
out.
because they wanted him to headline some
What's
Africa
Anderson gonna
card.
say?
He's
I would have
done.
liked to see Adesanya push for a finish a little, you know, maybe the last minute and a half, you know, come at
He's-
him with a little bit more. I mean, I get it, you know. He probably
Okay,
knows he's winning.
So
on
he's a
points.
Nigerian New Zealand mixed martial artist. So I don't know where he was born, but he's both. So maybe his. Let me see. Oh, so he was born in Nigeria. You're right, but he maybe he lives in New Zealand now because he has a like Australian accent.
Sounds like a retirement speech.
He's literally fighting just for the love of the the sport.
For fun.
He has nothing else to gain.
I mean, he didn't really take a ton of damage.
No.
I mean, Scott said it before the fight. Have you ever seen him cut or with any real damage?
I've never seen him bleed.
He got wobbly in the first round a couple times, but after that, he looked fine.
Maybe he bled against Sonnen. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, he wants to fight in Curitiba.
Yeah, in his hometown. I'd translate for you, but he's speaking English.
His English is a lot better than it used to be.
I don't think he's retiring. I think he's just collecting
I thought
checks.
he was going to pull the retirement.
He talked about, I think in I don't know if it was one of the pre-fight press conferences or interviews, he talked about how they have a event coming up in his hometown in Brazil and he wants to fight there. So hopefully they don't put him against anybody who's
like Romero. That would suck.
Yeah, CM Punk.
I kind of felt bad for him because like a lot of people believe that they're like we talked about in the beginning of the show that they just were throwing him to the wolves and like, hey, we have this up and coming dude who's killing people. He's undefeated. How about we put old Anderson Silva, in there and just to make a name for Israel.
Well, and that's Silva now. He's
didn't work out too well.
He's in the top 15, but he's not in the top 10 since ranking. So I don't see why they couldn't just take Silva and have him continue to fight guys that are good style matchups. But I don't think Silva's going to threaten for a belt anytime soon.
Is that like his girlfriend right there?
Or why not?
I hope so.
Why not have him fight some of the older, older fighters that are also sticking around still?
I totally agree.
I mean, do the Bellator thing. Have some of these like legends kind of fight one another.
So who would you have Anderson Silva fight next?
That's a good question. Who's still sticking around in his weight class? Who's kind of same era of fighters?
Tim Boach?
No, he's gone.
No, he's still in the UFC, but he's total garbage. But like maybe
he fought?
6 months. He's still around.
Well, I don't think the UFC has a problem. I mean, they could sign somebody, pick somebody up real quick just to match them up.
No, they gotta have somebody that has UFC experience. They can't just throw him like a.
No, I mean they could sign a veteran who's not under contract. Is what I mean.
Vitor 2?
No, not Vitor
2. Maybe Sonnen 3.
You could make that.
Nobody wants to see that shit.
I think there's nothing left. I think Anderson Silva just walks away.
Well, that's the thing. Who do you put him up against? Because you don't want to put him against another.
You're not going to put him against like 11-0 guy. Yeah. Just eat this. So this is
interesting. I'm actually really interested in that Cain Velasquez fight against
Cain's gonna run through him, I think.
Dude, he is. I don't know,
man.
Francis Ngannou, like even the fights that he lost, if every time he threw a punch, it scared the shit out of you.
He needs real training partners.
Dude, and I like Santos, man. The big dude.
Oh,
with the hammer on his chest.
Yeah, I don't know. He's 85 or moving up to 205.
And Derek Lewis against Dos Santos.
So Romero is actually fighting Paulo, right? Costa.
Oh yeah, that's right. The two guys who are very surprisingly not failing drug tests.
Yeah, right.
This was a pretty.
This is the new main event now that Whitaker's not fighting.
Yeah,
swing fight. Yeah.
Excuse me, pardon me. How do you like that?
Oh, it's pretty good actually. It's way better than the Hudson I have upstairs. I thought the one I had because the one I have upstairs is a bourbon. Oh, microphone out.
So aggressive.
Ooh, it's good. Do you like rye whiskey?
I am not a whiskey drinker.
Really?
Nope.
What's your drink of choice?
I just drink beer. But the first fight with friends I did with you, I got so hammered. That,
I think we all did.
Oh, dude, I was puking like crazy on the drive home. Like I had to the next morning, not from here. I crashed at Ben's, couldn't remember half the night, and then I'm driving home in the morning and I have to pull over a couple times to go puke.
How'd you guys get here? Did you drive?
I think we walked to your house
Today?
No, today we drove. I mean,
you
that
drove.
night
Okay.
we walked. Yeah, no, I drove.
You walked?
Yeah,
I think one night I know
to,
Ben Ubered one time.
Yeah, I wasn't there that night, but we walked and we had a couple drinks at the lighthouse, I think, and then we walked to your house. Yeah, it was. We got started early.
Well, I think after when we're doing them more often, they really did start getting, like a drinking fest. So
Yeah,
Ben was prepared, and he's
Well,
like, I'm walking.
the first one that was brutal.
Dude, the first
That
one
was
was the
brutal.
funniest one
It
ever.
was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah.
Well, it sucks that my wife's brother Anthony is such a pussy when it comes down to staying up late. If he doesn't get his sleep, he's like, "Oh, I'm tired. I can't."
But man, once you get that boy drinking,
Oh, dude, and he's
woo!
hilarious. Oh, Anthony's hilarious.
He was trying to fight us with hockey sticks and shit.
He's like, I could definitely kick your ass on skates. I'm like, yeah, because you're a hockey player. I can't skate, dude.
I'm surprised nobody's died in like a NHL hockey fight. When you think of these guys are heavyweights fighting on skates
and throwing
on
haymakers,
ice,
yeah.
how nobody's hit their head,
Good point, yeah.
I mean, you hear it all the time in street fights. Guys get in a fight in the parking lot, one punch, guys goes down, and they never wake up.
So Smith is fighting Massachusetts. This is MA. We can call it a night. I mean, that was a short fucking card, man.
Yeah,
We could keep talking.
Yeah, we can keep.
Vinny's got a lot more to say, he said.
Let's really piss everybody off. Let's talk politics.
No. I'm going to drink
All
this
right,
High
time for me
West
to go.
American Prairie.
I'm kidding.
American Prairie.
I do enough of that on my other shows. That's kind of the nice thing about these shows is that there's no prep. There's no studying or researching anything.
We prepped a lot. We were like training for like hours.
dude, they were doing trivial.
They had flashcards, all sorts of stuff.
Trivial fight.
We did a practice show.
So
Ben's house.
So what do you think is going to happen with the 125-pound division?
I think they're done.
Done?
I think it's hard to do that when Cejudo beats TJ like that. I think
I think that's the reason why you kill it.
I think that's the reason why they haven't killed it. I think that they were.
Well, yeah.
I think that if he lost that fight, they would have
That's
justified it by saying, "Okay, it's over. There's no more champion."
Yeah.
Let's just end it there.
But then they keep cutting all the 125-pounders. If you lose, you're done. That's what they keep.
What do you think about Mighty Mouse and who else went to one?
Alvarez. Eddie
Alvarez,
Alvarez.
that's Well, they talked about how
Ooh.
wow. They stopped it too soon, I think.
There's at least 2 punches right to the back of the
Oh, they
head.
stopped that one too soon.
I think Eddie Alvarez moving over there makes a ton of sense. Like, I don't think what else was he going to do in the UFC?
Well,
He
I
was gonna get
wonder-
another title shot.
I wonder if the way, because they talk about how what is it called, one FC, how one FC, like they have a lot more competition,
guys.
lighter guys, and it's really popular probably because all the small Asians think that they're big guys. But
Racist, but okay, yeah,
no
problem.
maybe a little bit, but I think it wouldn't be a bad idea if they cut a deal with one FC
Yes.
and said, hey, how about you take your weight class? We make some money from giving you all these contracts and all these guys, and they get, because apparently there's tons of money there, and it's like the biggest MMA organization in like Asia, and apparently like these guys are making like ridiculous amounts of money.
I mean, the market's a way bigger.
Yeah.
It's like 1 billion people.
Yeah, that's my point. So why not do something like that? Like give these guys the opportunity to make some money, move to, I mean, somebody like Cejudo or who's well known in America. I mean, they would be huge stars there.
Well, Cejudo could just move up to 135 and
Yeah.
just stomp the champion. So
You think he if he does go up and fight TJ, what do you guys think? I think Cejudo's, and he's one of those guys like Whitaker that we're going to be talking about how like he's gotten so much better than he was, and you're seeing these improvements every fight, because you saw when his striking really started getting good. And because he's not the same guy who fought Mighty Mouse the first time. I mean, the first time it was just like he was a wrestler who kind of looked like he just got an MMA, and now he has this like George St. Pierre kind of karate stance, and his striking was on point. He's confident. I remember the Mighty Mouse fight. He like twisted his ankle like the first like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like he got hit in that back of the knee, and it apparently like you get hit in this nerve that like gets your makes your foot numb, and that's what happened. And
it looked like he rolled his ankle.
Yeah, and he kept rolling because
hard.
apparently he said he couldn't feel it. He kept putting his foot down and he couldn't feel it. And he's like he was trying just to weather the storm. I mean, imagine that you're in the ring. You've done all this preparation. You're in the ring with one of the best fighters of all time in that weight class. And 2 seconds in, you can't.
Yeah, it's crazy to get a non-contact injury, in the cage or in the ring. It's weird to see like guys roll their ankles or pull stuff, but it happens just like in any other sport.
I like Cejudo. I like him as a person. He seems likable. He seems polite. I like what he's doing before the fight. He was talking about how all the silly stuff he was doing was because he was trying to get attention to the fight and kind of bring attention to weight class, like the wearing the really just ridiculous outfits and glasses and the snake. I don't know if you saw, like he had like the fake snake at weigh-ins, like all this silly stuff trying to get attention to the fight in the weight class. So I mean, I get it. Like, yeah, Mighty Mouse was one of the most dominant guys in that weight class, and he didn't get a whole lot of attention. But I also think Mighty Mouse fucked up big, because when TJ wanted to fight him, he should have took that fight.
Yes,
because one, it would have brought excitement to the weight class. It would have I mean, if he beat TJ, who is one of the best at 135, I mean, that only makes your legacy look even better. And like I said, it would have brought some. And one thing you always hear about Mighty Mouse, he doesn't get put on the big cards. They don't market him enough. Like, so he, basically it was a money, thing. Like, I wasn't getting the opportunity to make the big bucks like everybody else, and I'm this champ, one of the best of all time. And I'm like, well, then take the TJ fight. It makes perfect sense. Like TJ's a big star, and he'll bring in a crowd and
it's
on
10 pounds. It's not like you got to fight a guy at 30.
Well,
pounds,
he kept saying, oh, well, I don't know if TJ can make the weight. And it's like, well, what does that have to do with you? Like, that's TJ's issue.
TJ was already going to come down.
Yeah, he wanted to go down and fight Mighty Mouse.
I'll fight anybody in my weight class.
Exactly. Like, first of all, you can make that argument about anybody who's fighting you. Like, most of the guys you're fighting are cutting some weight. Like, they could all potentially not make weight. So it's
even Rumble cuts weight.
Yeah, he cuts like to 265 now, I think.
Yeah.
From 350.
TJ should have just fought him and got it over with.
But you missed the biggest fuck up was telling the UFC no, because they don't forget and they don't forgive. So
no,
when
he thought he was bigger than the organization.
You tell the matchmakers no, you tell executives no, they punish you for it. Trust me.
Speaking of this, what the fuck is going on with Nate and Nick Diaz? Like, apparently Dana White says he offers them fights all the time, and they're just done. Well, that's what I heard. I heard that
Nick is done.
Nick's done. Nate still might fight.
And
well, first of all, if you're McGregor, why not have him come back and fight Nate?
Well, that could happen whenever.
Yeah, but I'm saying it'd be a money fight. I think that's kind of what Nate wants. Is like, I mean, I just don't get it. Like, okay, I'm sure you probably
they're the weirdest mixed martial artists ever. They just don't give a shit.
They legitimately don't pretend they don't. They don't just pretend they don't give a shit. They literally do not give a shit. Like,
you're fucking.
Do you want to fight? Oh, I don't give a shit. Fuck him. It's like, no, they really mean they don't give a shit. They just won't fight for years, even though they're healthy and they could be making a paycheck.
A lot of money.
Like TJ was on the Rogan podcast recently, and he was talking about how like he wants to be more active because he's like, oh, I don't know how many more years of fighting I have, and every time I fight, it's a payday. I get paid, so I want to take advantage of being healthy and whatnot, and fighting and getting paid while I can. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck is Nate living off the publicity he made on the McGregor fights?
Yeah, it must be.
Like, is he just that famous now where he could just, he's, living decent? I mean, don't get me wrong. TJ, I mean, he owns a fucking NSX, and he's, probably spending a little bit more money than Nate, who's probably just smoking a lot of weed.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he was with Wonder Boy.
Dude, these dudes are savages.
And
huh?
Wait, who's Wonder Boy
commercials.
fighting? Didn't they schedule that recently?
Yeah,
too?
He's fighting Masvidal, right?
Oh, that's
no,
gonna be
no.
That
Or
should
no,
that
that's,
should be who he's fighting.
Anthony Pettis.
Yeah,
Oh,
Pettis.
the Pettis.
That's a-
Yeah, that's a weird fight too.
Who
Pettis
the
going.
fuck is Masvidal fighting?
Yeah, because he's supposed to be Till.
Till.
That's gonna be a good fight.
Both of those should be stomps. Thompson should stomp Pettis and
Yeah,
Till
I don't-
should stomp Masvidal.
I don't get that fight. I almost feel like people are just milking Anthony Pettis' name.
Yeah,
Like,
I was like,
let's
why
keep putting him
would
in
he
different
move
weight classes.
Up a weight class. He fought at 145, and then he's mostly at 155, and now he's gonna move to 170 and fight Stephen
a guy
Thompson,
who's a legit
who's
170.
6'3",
Yeah.
6'2". I'm like, I know that like when I originally saw that on Twitter, I tweeted at Anthony Pettis. I'm like, you're gonna get your ass kicked. I'm like this is a stupid fight. And then he announced it's official. I'm like, I feel bad for doing that. But
What do you think of
Still true.
the last Cerrone fight?
I was glad he smashed that young dude. That guy was talking a lot of shit. He's like, oh, he's so worn out. He's punch drunk,
But
whatever. And
but everybody's talking about, like,
shit out of him.
I almost feel
That's
bad for
tight.
Cerrone because I almost feel like he's one of those guys that he's always going to be a really, really solid fighter, but he's never going to be.
No, he's never going to be
you know.
the top guy, but who gives a fuck?
Oh, he's out.
Yeah, I think Cerrone's a guy who's very
no, he's not.
skilled, but
He
he's
just
not
loves
the
fighting.
athlete that I think he just reaches a point in the weight class where he's not fast enough. He's not athletic.
He's
No,
like a top 5.
Now, how much of this has to do with the fact that I know he loves his lifestyle and it's what makes Cerrone. The fact that, like, he'll
He's drinking
drink
beer out of a boot.
Yeah, he's drinking, the day before a fight if he wants to. He'll go freaking surfing, bungee jumping. Like, he'll just do whatever whenever. Like, if he was a little more disciplined and focused just on training, I think he'd be, he could.
We are
maybe-
talking about cage fighters, right? Yeah, a little bit.
But what would he? Oh, you mean like some of their not disciplined?
It's just the lifestyle, like
Maybe, but I also think
yeah.
some of these guys are incredibly disciplined, and that's what makes them great. I mean, you look at TJ. Like, TJ's a workaholic. I mean,
I think they all work hard. I mean,
yeah, but I'm saying, like, we talked about in the beginning of the podcast, like how they break down everything from when, not just what he should eat, but when he should eat. He's doing all the blood. A lot of fight. You think Cerrone would ever do that? He'd be like, fuck no, I'm going to sleep in when I want. I'm going to eat when I want. I'm going to do it. So I just think there's certain guys who
but
I mean, it's almost like Charles Barkley in the
okay.
NBA. Like,
So, like,
if
you look
he was great, but imagine if he actually had discipline with his diet and nutrition. Like, he was so gifted and naturally that, like, if he could combine his natural gifts with
Are you really
maybe
looking at that? Yeah, but Cerrone fights like 4 times a year, and TJ fights.
he's looking
like
at it because
1
he's
or
talking to
2
Lee, so he's
times
like,
a
if
year.
anybody's talking shit, it's going to be about us, not him.
Yeah.
So that's why he's reading it.
About talk as much shit as you want. I don't care. I'll give you my address. I'll fucking fight you in my driveway.
Meet me outside.
Catch me outside. How about
Yeah,
that?
that's what I'm. Yeah, catch me outside.
I'm just looking at those middleweight rankings and
It's
trying to
so
see
weak.
if Anderson
It's
Silva
such a
can beat.
weak division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Luke Rockhold has 4. He's been knocked out 2 times in a
Yeah.
row. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And Weidman, same thing. He hasn't looked good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Wyman looks like shit every time.
Every
I
time
was-
you think he's gonna make his comeback, right?
I was thinking about
Well,
this.
against Romero, he didn't look bad until he got fucking his head smashed open with that knee.
I was thinking that, like, if Gegard Mousasi came back, he'd probably be the middleweight champion right now. He smashed Mousasi.
Dude, Mousasi, you're right. I mean, that was a huge loss for the UFC.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that Rory McDonald Mousasi fight? What the fuck was Rory thinking?
Not Mousasi. What the hell am I talking about? He smashed Weidman.
Did you know what I'm talking about? Rory went up
he
and
smashed him.
In Bellator.
Yeah. I didn't get that fight either. I'm like, why is Rory going up and fighting one of the best?
I mean, Rory's pretty damn good. I thought that was going to be a much more competitive fight than that, but yeah, he got.
Well, I
stopped.
think they're equally as good. Only one's a bigger version of the other guy. So it's like,
they're both very cerebral fighters. Like, they're both like super intelligent. Yeah. This was a stupid fight.
I know now looking back at it, it's like there's more mocking than there was action.
It almost felt like I was watching sparring.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten hit harder in sparring than that.
I think he actually got hurt there.
Signing off.
Pretty much.
He wants to go home and just read all the comments.
I don't even know where any of that
I don't know
is.
what it is about Cruz.
He looks like a 12-year-old.
He looks like a 12-year-old. He has a fucking tramp stamp on the back of his
He looks like he should
he
work at a
does.
Citizens Bank or something.
and yeah, he looks like a teller. And he's still super arrogant, even though he hasn't won a fight in forever.
And he's so fragile. He should be called Mr. Glass.
Yes, I have plantar
Don't-
fasciitis.
And hey, we talked about this because we were at the fight. The
And a
fight that he
yeast
lost,
infection.
that he won against TJ, Kinda
I
questionable.
Suspect.
it's very suspect. First of all, a fight that close, I have a hard time taking a belt away from anybody when the fight's that close.
Should just be like draw, you lose.
And look at everything that TJ's done since that fight. And like what Cruz has he's gotten knocked out by Cody. But that shows you how good fucking TJ is.
He lost
He
by
fought-
decision.
He fought Cody twice. Another one of those rematches that make no sense. Like you got beat, you got knocked out the first time, and then
If
you
lose
have a
by
rematch.
knockout, you shouldn't get an automatic fucking rematch.
And this
It
is the
makes no
thing is
sense.
now look,
okay. So you don't think Aldo deserved a rematch against Connor?
Correct.
That's bullshit.
yeah,
13 seconds.
but
13 seconds. That's a fluke. 13 seconds is a
Maybe.
fluke.
Okay, then
I
win
will
a
say
fight
that
and
is
fight
an
again.
exception to the rule. I think that you could make the argument that like, okay, when it was like he didn't get dominated, he could have just got caught early, and you didn't really give
He
him
didn't
a
get
chance.
dominated. He got
Caught.
caught. Like there's,
Agreed.
I think nine out of 10 fights Aldo beats Connor, no problem.
What? No.
I mean, that goes back to what I was saying
No.
earlier. It's like, I love to see him fight
I'm just
Aldo.
saying.
People
Warrior
forget. This is the
again.
thing is, I think we live in the now, and we forget how good Connor was when he went up and won
The
both
guys
belts,
he beat
and-
were
and-
really good.
and he literally fought everybody. And then when he was scheduled to fight dudes,
He literally didn't fight anybody good until Aldo, and he
He
caught him.
beat Chad Mendez on
He beat
short
Chad-
notice.
he beat Chad Mendez on what 5-day notice, not even
yeah,
2
but he still
weeks.
beat him.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, but
Was it 2 weeks?
yeah, whatever. It's
yeah,
short
but the
notice.
thing is, he fought a lot of guys that couldn't.
he
There's
beat
a lot
Max
of guys.
Holloway.
He never fought Frankie.
no,
He beat Max Holloway.
Yeah, but he beat
When he was
Alvarez.
like
who
21
before
years
Max
old.
Holloway was
people
even Max
forget,
Holloway.
Alvarez looked really good before he
he
fought
beat
McGregor.
Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie
at his
Alvarez looked
prime.
really good
that
before.
Was true.
And
that
I'll,
was a real fight.
and
That
I'll,
was a good, yeah,
dude, and I'll tell
Can't
you,
take
man,
that one away.
you and he went up on weight, beat Alvarez, and literally like. I mean, made Alvarez look like
And
he
they-
was petrified. He
and
made
they- and
Alvarez
they
look
got
like
beat
Forrest
by-
Griffin against Anderson Silva.
Yes.
and then got
Yes, he
beat by
did.
Nate
Yeah, that was weird.
Who got beat by Nate
Connor.
the first time,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
but he beat Nate again.
Kind of.
Kind of. I thought he lost. I lost both fights in my eyes.
I kind of feel like that's a tough matchup for him because you're going up on weight. You're fighting a weight class you don't
It's
usually
not
fight
really.
at.
Nate Diaz is a 55.
Okay,
Yeah, but they're not
so-
fighting
so
at
right
55.
now-
They're fighting at 70.
Who
But,
gives a fuck?
Okay,
That
so,
kind of matters a
so-
little bit.
so let me ask you
15
something.
pounds?
Do you think Connor would have beat Frankie around the
Yes.
same
Yes.
Aldo time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
he'd
don't
beat
think
Frankie Edgar.
I think Connor at his
Do you
peak
think
was as
Connor
good as
his
advertised.
peak
I just think that
Would have beat
he couldn't sustain it. I honestly think that while he's parting it up and just like milking how popular he is, a lot of these other guys are getting better. And
I
now,
think-
I mean, when he fought Khabib, that you can't tell me that looked like the Connor that beat Alvarez. You can't tell me like I'll tell you, I watched both fights back to back because I was so stunned by how he got his ass kicked in that fight that I'm like, was I just caught up in the hype? What was it that made me
I
think this
dropped
guy
this.
in what's this?
The Fight Pass.
Oh, it's Fight Pass. Well, what's the point of having it now that
I got the plus.
you know, yeah, the ESPN Plus.
So I guess I lose like Invicta and shit like that.
nobody wants to see bitches fight anyways.
Well, you can see bitches fighting the UFC.
Whoa.
Oh
racist.
shit. You're
Ding, fries are done.
but But yeah, I what the hell were we just talking about? We were.
I have no idea.
Conor McGregor.
Oh,
how he looked between his.
But
last two fights.
if you watched him against Alvarez and then you watched him against Khabib, like his speed wasn't there, his timing wasn't there, his movement wasn't there,
I think
his confidence wasn't there.
It's called perfect timing.
I don't think you get lucky that many times.
I think you can.
No, I think he's a very skilled fighter.
I think that, and this goes back to what we talked about.
I think he was fed easy matchups for him.
He did not go out in 13 he fought the best guys.
And he got lucky with Aldo. I think I think.
Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of luck involved.
Okay, but you have to give him credit. Okay, even whatever your argument is against Nate, he still didn't have to take that fight. He took it because he just
wanted to.
Yeah,
he moved up 15 pounds, even though he was at 100. He was on weight.
He was on weight, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they
moved up.
Well, Nate said like, "Oh, I can't make that weight, so I'm not going to fight." And then he's like, "Fuck it, what does he weigh? I'll fight him." So I'm like, you have to give him credit. He fought at a weight class that he never had any intentions of fighting at. He had nothing to gain. I mean, so he loses that fight. What happens? Like he looks like I mean, it's a loss in his record. And
I'm just saying he didn't fight the right guys at the right times. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I would agree with that to a certain extent. There were bad matchups for Conor in that weight class.
Chad Mendes, when Chad Mendes fought Aldo.
So wait, is the post fight going to be on SportsCenter now?
Yeah,
then when he fought Conor.
That what?
So Chad Mendes,
when
he fought Aldo for the second time.
If I get it.
If you would have fought Conor right after that, he would have smoked Conor.
Who would have?
Chad Mendes.
Chad Mendes never did anything after he fought Conor. Even when he was prepared to fight. Who did he fight after? He lost, didn't he? He didn't.
I think he went.
He got suspended after, and he came back, and he didn't like. Don't get me wrong. Chad Mendes looked,
and then he lost his recent fight, and that's it.
I mean, you can make the argument that obviously Chad Mendes, while before he got winded, he looked really good against Conor, but.
And that fight was only on 2-week notice. If it was a full training camp, I think it would have smoked him.
But if that's true, then why was Conor the champ and Mendes never did anything after that fight?
Plus, go to that.
He's interim champ.
Whatever. But my point is, what did Mendes do? Because I remember seeing that fight and I thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, Mendes is way better than I thought he was. And then I remember his next couple fights. I'm just like, well, where's the Mendes that almost beat the champ? Like. I don't know. Sometimes it's matchups. Sometimes it's, you end up taking somebody down and you get lucky or whatnot. I mean, Conor's obviously, his wrestling's never been his strong point. So he got taken down by a wrestler. But
I'm just saying a lot of the times Conor either had an easy matchup at that time in his career or his opponent's career.
See, I disagree because you fought Aldo when he was at the peak of his career. Like he was dominating, he was champ forever. You fought Eddie.
He fought Aldo and clipped him in 13 seconds.
Yeah, but he still beat him. You can't take that away from him.
He still beat him. Aldo should have gotten a rematch.
But going into that fight,
yeah, but that's not McGregor's fault.
Dominant fighter.
Yeah.
Aldo was like Godzilla.
Yeah.
And he's like and he head gamed the shit out of him.
But that's the thing is that in 13 seconds.
But like you
got to look at that and you got to say,
what do you think, Vinny?
I mean,
I think Aldo was a good matchup for McGregor because McGregor's quick. He's a good counter striker.
Length.
And I think that McGregor probably would have beaten him again, given that what McGregor does so well
the head game
is the head. Well, yes, there's the getting guys out of their game, but the counter striking. McGregor's a really smart fighter. He's got above average defense. I think he would have beat him, but I do agree with Scott that I think McGregor had favorable matchups along the way in his weight class. There were guys that could have exposed some of McGregor's weaknesses, but he just never fought those guys. And as far as Khabib's concerned, I think McGregor's biggest mistake was that he underestimated him. He didn't think Khabib could strike with him, and he could. He underestimated how strong Khabib was, how fast he was.
I don't think that it's that Khabib could strike. It was the fact that I forgot who said it. They're like, when you're fighting somebody who's that good of a wrestler, it's amazing how hard it is to see the strikes coming because you're so cautious about the
Them going for your
takedown.
legs.
Yeah, that they're going for your legs. That your hands are constantly coming down. Like you fake your hands are coming down. Like you constantly think that you're getting taken down.
That was the punch that
yeah.
he hit McGregor with. It looked like he was going for his legs, and then he just
Exactly
agreed. I also think that McGregor could have done more to avoid some of the stuff Khabib did. Like McGregor, I saw, he's getting a little too close to him, and sort of, if you're really afraid of getting taken down, you sort of on your bike, you pump your jab, you stay on the outside, you're ready to sprawl at any given moment. And he just didn't appear to me to be afraid of. I don't think he respected Khabib enough. I really don't. I don't think he respected Khabib's overall game. And by the time he woke up and realized, he was in deep shit, it was too late, And McGregor's got a terrible gas tank. So Khabib's greatest strength is that he never slows down, So
how do you fix that?
You take rounds off, I mean, that's the way a lot of fighters do it. Even in boxing, guys go 12 rounds. They take rounds off.
I almost wonder if he's almost too lean for his own good too. Like, not having some people will make the argument that a guy like Cormier or Cain Velasquez, like these type of guys,
the reserve.
Yeah, you got that fat reserve. I mean, your body when you're training super hard like that, and your body and you run out of glucose to burn, and a lot of these guys are on like a highly glucose diet, like you go into ketosis and you start burning fat. And if you don't, and you see a lot of these lean guys, like very few of them have great endurance when it goes down to later.
Even when McGregor like walks into the octagon, you're like, he's still shredded.
He's so shredded. That's the thing. He's so. But then you look at somebody like St. Pierre. St. Pierre never really had a problem with endurance. Like, not that it was exposed as much as McGregor, but
he had a little bit. He was a little thicker than McGregor.
Yeah.
Like you could see like all of McGregor's ribs when
he cut weight a lot. Yeah,
and I think with cardiovascular training, a lot of guys, not a lot, but in the early days of mixed martial arts, overtraining was a problem. Like, guys would go so hard during their training camps, they'd step into the cage and they'd look great. I mean, they'd look awesome. And
physically,
they look good physically. And then when the fight starts, these guys are gassing out like earlier than they should be, because I think they go too hard in their training camp too long, and they get diminishing returns over time, and I think these guys got to find the sweet spot for their cardio. I also think genetics plays a role in this. I mean, Ben's trained for a long time. You wrestle. There's just guys who just naturally are never going to have great cardio. BJ Penn is another guy who always struggled with his cardio for a long time until, I just think that happens.
I wonder, how do you train for that? How do you... But I mean, I don't know, man, because it's like I'd be really curious to know, like, what exactly is he training, or what exactly is he doing to specifically focus on that issue? Because I almost feel like he feels like his cardio is not an issue. Like he could knock somebody out, and it's not really, because to not improve at all. Like, you look at like, it was quite obvious when he fought Nate Diaz the first time, and well, actually both times, that his cardio was the issue, and everybody was talking about it. And like, you haven't really seen any emphasis on improving that and fixing that issue. And but again, like, these guys have big egos. These guys have and you never know who's around them too, and like who's saying, "Oh, do this." Train,
I mean,
because you constantly have
guys around them are horrible. I'm assuming.
Well, because you have a lot of times where when you're that rich and famous, like, you figure, okay, if I can convince this guy I have the secret to training, or or hire me as a trainer or nutritionist or whatever, you figure I'm gonna make bank. So you end up giving them some bullshit, like, training schedule, like, hey, you should train like this or do that. I mean, look at the movement stuff. Like, a lot of people well, I mean, people laughed at it when he lost it to Nate, and then when he won again and he ended up beating Eddie, nobody was talking about it anymore. It's like, it's funny how, like, your success dictates how people look at your techniques and training. It's like, if you're winning, then people think like, oh yeah, there might be something to this movement thing. And then if you lose, then it's like, oh, apparently it's all bullshit. It's like, that's only one.
Some stuff just looks like straight up bullshit.
Well, there is something about, like, if you look at a lot of professional athletes, something that's really important. And I mean, actually, a guy that we talked about recently too, David Goggins, he talks about how like when he loves watching sports, and he talks about like, you know, at night when he's watching sports, he'll spend like hours just stretching while watching the TV, and like how important it is to keep the body flexible. And that's really what the movement thing is. It's like the idea of like, okay, you're putting yourself in all these awkward positions, because you think about it, right? Like in an MMA fight, your body's going to be put in a lot of you know, unique and awkward situations. If you can already kind of you know, practice putting yourself in every single position possible, there's nothing that your body you know, will be, I guess, or any position you'll be put in where your body doesn't feel natural or
comfortable.
Like, yeah, or comfortable. That's the word I was probably
you can react to it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's no different than like, you know, if I don't, you know, if I don't practice stretching my hips and doing the splits and stuff like that, I
panic.
And then all of a sudden I try to do head kicks, I'm gonna pull a fucking hamstring. I'm gonna hurt my hip, you know. So it's like, it's because I've put myself in that position before. I've stretched out those muscles and those joints where, you know, when I put my body in that position, it's comfortable doing it, and I don't have any injuries. So there might be, and not just that, the other thing too that I think is really interesting, and really McGregor was the first time that I really started thinking about this, and some of these other movement guys, is that it's foot strength, right? So McGregor does everything barefooted, and there's something you never really think about. There's like tons of muscles in your foot, and you train every muscle in your body, but you never train your feet. And being barefoot all the time, you don't realize that like it actually strengthens your feet. And if your feet get fatigued, you know, you could still work out on your legs, your core, all this stuff. But if your feet get fatigued, like it's going to have effect on your quickness, your explosiveness, because everything starts with your, you know, with your feet, you know, and then to be able to explode, to be able to move. So I think it's probably something that's kind of underrated. And I remember talking to you out here.
Yeah.
You can go home, read YouTube comments. And
I'm going to respond.
Don't bother.
I'm gonna respond to all the haters on Twitter.
I'm gonna see Scott.
Let me know.
I'm gonna see Scott with bags under his eyes, saying, "I was up till 7 a.m. arguing with
crying."
But
let them know I don't give a flying fuck. This guy right here.
Give a fuck.
But I think that, so. What I was going to say was my co-host Dave, when he went to go see, when his daughter lived in Hawaii, he would go see her, and he talked about how like they'd walk on the beach and do everything barefooted, and she's climbing up on rocks and all this stuff, and he's just like, dude, I was amazed at like how strong her feet got just from like all this climbing and walking on rocks and all stuff. And she's like, my feet were hurting, I didn't have any foot strength, and it's like, and it's just something you never really take in consideration. You know, there's a book called Born to Run about how like Nike ruined the way people walk and run and all that stuff. How people now run heel first instead of, you know, on the ball of their feet, and which has messed up our whole mechanics and everything. And but it makes sense, because if we say let's go sprint down the street on blacktop or concrete, you wouldn't run heel first. That would really hurt. You're only capable of doing that when you have that big cushion on your sneaker.
Right.
And so you figure for thousands of years, like we weren't designed to run that way. And that's why if you look at kids and you have 3, like when they first start learning to walk, right? Like they're always on the ball of their feet, you know?
They're on their toes.
Like I see my mother when my kids were learning to walk, my mom would be like, "What's wrong with your kids?" Like trying to push their heels down. Like she's like, I'm like, "Mom, that's fine. That's natural." I'm like, you should be on the ball of your feet. I'm like, that's why when somebody says, "Oh, he's always on his toes," what are you really saying? You're saying, "Oh, he's really quick," because you're quicker when you're on your ball of your feet. That's the way you should be moving, you know?
Yep.
So it's interesting. But
yeah.
Okay, man, you just really want a cigarette, probably.
See you later, buddy.
All right. It was
nice seeing your beard again.
All right, man.
See you, man. Yeah, keep in touch, man.
All right. Have fun.
Well, we'll figure out when the next one's gonna be. If we really want to get cocked and just make fun of shit, we should watch a Bellator fight.
All right, put it on.
No, not now. I mean, like, somebody doesn't want to go home.
He's in a little bit. Yeah, he's ready to go.
He's ready
to record.
He's like, everybody on YouTube, meet me at my house.
Yeah,
let's pre-record some podcast.
All right.
See ya, man.
See you, man.
Drive safe. Well, you got a little bit more of a drive than we do.
Yeah, I know.
It's not too far, but it's still at this late. It's farther than you'd like it. You want to take a road drink? While all the police officers who are listening to this look for your license plate. What? Huh? Yeah, wherever. Thanks. But yeah, it's
funny how you talk about the shoe thing. I never lift with shoes on anymore. I'm barefoot.
But it makes sense. Well, you look at
But
it like
then I smashed my foot with a plate, and that sucked.
Oh, you actually did that?
Oh, I
Oh,
yeah,
dropped
that will
it
hurt.
on my foot. My foot was black. I was like, shh.
Yeah, but you look at it like if you're doing heavy weightlifting with sneakers that have cushioning, right? If your balance goes left or right just slightly, and that cushion kind of
Does it?
You know,
No, I
gives a
don't
little
lift
bit.
any weight. I don't wear shoes anymore. I think I was squatting like 340 the other day.
You don't wear pants anymore when you lift.
No shoes, no socks, completely barefoot.
I see people in my gym who do the same thing. They wear the toe shoes or
I
whatever.
mean, if I was in a gym, I'd probably wear shoes, but I'm in my house. I don't.
But it okay. So what difference have you seen when in barefoot compared to sneakers?
I don't even know what. It
and you're
is
still
to-
doing the kettlebell stuff, right?
I love the kettlebells, but I don't even know what it is to lift with like shoes on anymore. Like I squat, I deadlift. Everything,
but when you initially start
no
doing
shoes.
it, did you see a difference in your technique or maybe your strength
I think
or
my
form?
Technique was shittier when I had shoes on, but I couldn't tell you it had anything to do with the shoes. I just think that like I've grown a little bit wiser to the motion and understanding. Okay, this is the form I need. I don't know if it has nothing to do with my wearing shoes or not.
Well, I definitely feel like you're more grounded.
But
have
with a kettlebell, I would say yeah. Without the shoes, I feel like that's the right way to do things.
Well, you figure if you're doing something as primitive as kettlebells, you'd want to be barefoot and just be like, just throwing weights around barefoot.
I've probably had like 15, 20 people ask me about like workouts or whatever. I'm like, just buy a kettlebell. Just buy a kettlebell. Like I'm like, if you want a real workout, let's just go back to the basics and like these are the motions. If you want to like
functional exercises,
they're like, well, I do like 3 sets of 10 on the bench, and I'm like, that's great.
Well, it's
that's
funny
not going to get you anything like
usable
anywhere.
Yeah. Well, when I was doing weightlifting and I was like 200 pounds and I was benching a lot, curling a lot, all that stuff. None of that strength in the gym doing those specific movements ever helped me that much in regards to like working construction, having to pick up something.
Hell no, it's just like
it helps a little bit.
Motion.
I'm gonna be stronger than the typical dude who doesn't work out, but like compared to what I was doing in the gym, and then you see what it's like, wait, I'm strong in the gym. Why is this so hard, or why shouldn't I be doing this easier? It's not, like you said, it's not functional exercise. I mean, I circuit train now. Like I haven't done any type of weightlifting type of schedule in a long time. But now I just circuit train and just do a little bit, full upper body, do a couple exercises for every muscle group. And that way but when you have kids, it's a lot harder to find time to go. So when I go, I just do all upper body, all lower body. And Are you still finding time to exercise?
Yeah, but I'm on a super compressed schedule. And so I do the same thing. I'll do like upper body, lower body splits. I don't even have time for like any real type of cardio because like just takes too long. You know? So you get more bang for your buck if you lift. But the diet is like the really, really hard part for me because I have a full-time job and I freelance and
you freelance what?
Porn.
I work for a website that does
porn.
Yes. It's a retail website. So I
you
write,
retail porn?
Yes, it is. I write the descriptions and
For
I
porn.
create and I tag the related videos. Porn stuff. So yeah. But I'm up late. I'm then I get up early and I don't have and one of the ways you stoke the furnace is you eat late. So I eat late at night and I mean it's just.
Have you tried the keto diet?
No, I haven't tried any type of dieting.
Dude,
for
give
like
it a try.
years.
Because your schedule is similar to mine. I mean, I as you guys know, I mean, today was hectic. I got out of basketball. I took a shower at 8, and then I was down here trying to get the studio ready. Like that's kind of typical for me with like my wife either working or I'm working, and then I play basketball. I'm constantly playing in leagues. I play pickup ball 2-3 times a week. I go to the gym in the morning, probably like 3-4 times a week. and it's hectic. And that diet's the easiest for me because you lose your appetite. Like you're just never hungry, because once you're in ketosis and you learn how to get your body to run off glucose, and instead of running off glucose, you run off fats for energy. You're burning fat that you have stored, so you're never really hungry, and you have sustained energy. And so instead of spending so much time focused on like, what am I going to eat? What's my next meal going to be? Oh, I'm getting hungry. Now I have to stop, whatever task I'm doing or whatever thing I have to do to eat. Like I literally eat like one meal a day. I eat like a meal and a half. And sometimes I fast for 24 hours. I'll go all day without eating, and I'll just
That's crazy.
It's not, but it is crazy if you're not in ketosis. If you're in ketosis, I'd love to pretend like it's super hard, but it's not. Like
I'm clearly not in ketosis because I've gained about 19 pounds in the last 2 months, just eating everything.
Well, the thing is about eating a high fat diet is that you can eat basically as much as you want, because fat's so filling that once you're full, you just stop eating. You're like, I don't have appetite. And then you stay full, because once you're in ketosis, you're burning fat that you ate, but you're also burning fat that you have stored. So you just don't get hungry. So what I do, I'll eat like a huge meal at night, and then I literally like don't get hungry at all day. And then if I do get hungry, I might have maybe some eggs, like literally just like maybe 3 eggs, or I'll have some peanuts or avocado, and like a snack basically. And then I'll just eat again my big dinner at night. And that way I can kind of keep busy during, and I've what was it? The day of the Super Bowl last week, Sunday, I went to the gym in the morning, played basketball right before the Super Bowl for 2 hours, all while fasting. And like years ago when I first started, or prior to me doing the keto diet, I would have to like literally eat like on my way to basketball, because I constantly, if I didn't get enough calories, I constantly got like lightheaded and felt like yeah. But that's because you're burning glucose for energy, and then once you're basically out of that glucose, your body's starving for an energy source. But if you don't, if you teach it to do what basically it was designed to do, and that's run off fat for energy, then you that won't happen. Like to me, it's like, it boggles my mind that at like just not that many years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, I would have to literally eat, and if I didn't eat enough before I went to go do
like how much power are you losing, like
not
strength wise?
I didn't lose any. I mean, I'm not as strong as I used to be, but that's only because my training's different. Like I used to do like a typical person who big into weightlifting. I used to do like chests and tris together, and just do like a whole day of like chests and tris and burn the shit out of them. Then I do buys and back, and I'll do shoulders, a day for just shoulders, a day just for legs, and just do like high weight, low reps.
Yeah.
And but it's gotten to the point where like now it's like, I like being a little lighter, a little quicker on the basketball court. It's a little easier on my joints. Like in the winter, it's not that bad, but in the summer, like when I'm working construction and like, you're shoveling or you're doing stuff that kind of beats up your body, and then you're going to the gym and doing like real heavy weight that's, putting friction on your joints. Like I was just always in pain. And so to me, it was really, helpful to kind of change my lifestyle a little bit, to kind of, be like, hey, I can't do like live the way I was living forever, because I'm beating the shit out of my body, and it's going to catch up to me. But the big thing is too, is like I'm curious if a lot of my pain was from the training and basketball and working, or if it was my diet, because now I look back,
probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both. But once I changed my diet, and because arthritis and a lot of the joint pain just comes from inflammation, and you remove foods that cause inflammation, then breads, grains, carbs, sugars. I mean, literally the only sugar I've had today is this. Like I literally will, I tell people all the time, I'm like alcohol's the one thing I haven't cut out of my diet, but that's because like you look at it, like my couple glasses of wine at the end of the day is still less sugar in a day and carbs in a day than somebody will have just in their breakfast. Like, and that will be like my sugar for the day. And some people will have a bagel and a glass of orange juice or whatever in the morning, and they've already consumed more glucose than I have, and have already had that insulin spike. And I eat good. I mean, I mostly meat and salads, and we'll do like cauliflower rice, throw tons of butter and olive oil in it, or do spaghetti squash, stuff like that. All these alternatives, and it's delicious, and it's good, and I feel great. I never feel guilty eating it, and this looks like it was a good game.
They lost.
Who, the Clippers?
No,
Clippers
Celtics
ended up
end up losing
winning.
this game.
Yeah.
What? The...
Kyrie didn't play, right? Yeah.
He left after the third quarter, I think.
So when you were cutting weight to for your MMA fights,
I actually
what type
did
of dieting did you do?
I just ate like no carbs. I ate
But basically very similar to the paleo or keto diet. I mean, the one thing I say,
ate a lot of chicken. I ate a lot of vegetables, like maybe like a little bit of rice. Like I went from like 175 to like 155 over like 4 or 5 weeks. Like, I mean, I was working out 5-6 days a week. I was burning a shit ton of calories, and I wasn't really wasn't taking a lot of calories in. So,
yeah. And to be clear, you dieted down to your weight.
Yeah, I didn't cut that shit.
Weight, yeah.
Like, like I dieted down into like the day of the weigh-in, I was 156 pounds. And I think the day I fought, I was like 158 pounds.
Yeah, but you look at like what's
I smashed that motherfucker. So like, you know what? Whatever, fuck them.
Yeah, but you see the common theme. It's like if you look at the paleo diet, the keto diet, the carnivore diet, like a lot of these, like the things that they have in common are remove grains, sugars, like processed foods. It's kind of all similar.
All grains, like
I remove all grain. Well, you look at grains, like what do you get? What nutritional value do you get out of grains? Like
some
nothing.
sort of energy, I assume.
Well, yeah, energy, but you can get the energy source out of fats, and it's a better source of energy because it's not it doesn't have the insulin spike. You end up having more sustained energy instead of having like this boost of energy then being hungry again. And to me, when you have a busy schedule, to me that's super important because if, like I said, if I'm too busy like worrying about like feeding the kids and doing the stuff I have to do, then to have to like find time to sit down and actually make a nice meal for myself. And what the wife and I do is that what we do with our big meal at the end of the day is that because we're both basically on similar diets, she's kind of eventually kind of jumped on board, but like we'll put the kids to bed and then we'll have our dinner, and we'll have a glass of wine, we'll watch whatever show we're into at the moment, and it'll be kind of like a little date night, and we do it almost every night, and that way we don't eat a whole lot during the day. We can focus on the kids, feed them, kind of just focus on the kids all day. And then once they're in bed, that's when we kind of get to, have our little time to ourselves.
Sounds like a good system.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is, as you know, like sometimes the kids become such a priority that your relationship ends up taking a back seat to it.
Yes.
And that's quite common. And the problem with that is that the only reason you have kids with this person is because your relationship was so special that you wanted to take the next step. Yep. And then that special relationship turns into who gives a shit. Now my only priority is the kids.
Right.
And it's like, you almost forget like the reason you had kids was because me and this person loved each other so much that we wanted to have this a special experience and this amazing experience of bringing life, to this earth together and raising them together. And then this whole together thing just goes into, well, fuck my significant other. I love the kid. I think a love for a child is so, I think, undescribable that I think that you end up being like, okay, nothing else is equally as important.
Yes.
But I think that can be dangerous too, because it's really important to have a healthy and I guess environment and family for the kids to grow up in. I mean, my kids are much happier when my wife and I are getting along, than and when we're all hanging out and having a good time.
They pick up on that stuff,
Oh, absolutely. Well, newborns have incredible ability to pick up on social cues. They talk about how newborns in time will actually lose their ability to pick up on social cues. They're the strongest when they're first born because that's the only way they know how to communicate or pick up on what's going on. And as they discover language and to communicate verbally, that actually they rely less on picking up on those social cues, but on your facial expressions, your tone, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that stuff's super important. Kids pick up on all that stuff. There's so many times that you think they're not listening or they don't know that you might be, having some friction with your significant other, but they're picking up on all that. And
my kids will mention it to me, like, a few hours later, Daddy, why'd you say this to mommy? Or why?
Oh, my kids do that too. Like even
so they perceive that.
Even
stuff,
when
sure.
my wife and I are like we're fighting a little bit, but the kids are in the room, so we're trying to like kind of hide it. You know, we're just kind of like, well, you know, you could have done this, you know, but like we're trying to be polite. We're not really, you know, being loud or anything like that. We think we're kind of arguing in a way that they're not picking up on it, and then they'll be like, "Will you guys stop fighting?" Or were you? And I'm like, "Wait, how did you know we were fighting? Like, we just sound like we're, you know." But they do. They pick up on it, and it's you know, I think it isn't. That's why, to get back to my initial point, like, I mean, and a tip to, I think, people listening, I think it's really important. Like the fact that, you know, not everybody can get a babysitter, not everybody can find time to go out and have a date night. But like even doing these little things, like, okay, the kids go to bed. Okay, you know, I love watching documentaries, but you know, the wife's not a huge in documentaries, so we'll find a show we both can tolerate and we both like, and we'll spend some time. We'll watch an episode. We'll eat dinner together. We have a glass of wine, and we just enjoy each other's company for a little bit. Because if not, then it's like, okay, you take care of the kids and I take care of the kids, and it's the end of the night, we put them to sleep, we go to bed, and that's it. And it's like, we're not spending any time talking or hanging out or communicating, and it just takes a back seat. And I think it little by little, if you know, it's a relationship's like a plant. Like if you're not watering it, it's going to eventually die. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh my God, I don't know what happened. You know, we fell out of love. It's like, it didn't just happen overnight. It was like little by little, you know, you just kept, you know, ignoring it and neglecting it, and then eventually it fell apart, you know. And you know, relationships are like that. It's just it's really easy to get caught up. Like I feel like once you're married and you're tied down, it's really easy to just be like, okay, we're good, we're just always going to be together, and we don't have to put any work into it because this person should always love me and I should always. It's like, no, man, like you should, like, I should constantly be trying to earn my wife's love, and she should be constantly trying to earn mine.
It's a good way to put it.
And it's like, it's not something you ask for, it's something you earn. And it's like, you know, I shouldn't just assume that no matter what, my wife's gonna just, you know, wake up every morning and want to hang out with me and want, you know, it's like it takes work. It constantly takes work. And I think that a lot of times, you know, once, like, it's almost like people see the wedding is like the finish line. Like, okay, it's like, and I'm like, no, man, that's like the starting line. Like the hard part just begun. Like once you get married, then it's like, that's when it gets really hard, and you live together and you see each other every day. That's when it gets really hard to keep things interesting, keep things not boring, find new ways of keeping each other interested in one another. I mean, because it gets to the point where, like, you've heard every single fucking story I've ever told. You know everything about me. Like, we have nothing else. Like, and this is why when you first meet somebody, the excitement of it is the fact that, like, you seem interesting to them because they've never heard these stories. They don't know anything about, oh shit, you do MMA? Oh, where do you train? Oh, that sounds so interesting. Like,
hopefully, you know, not Team Link.
But well, what do you have against Team Link? Or you just
nothing other than they suck. Like, no big deal. Video will kill all of them with his bare hands. Look at this motherfucker. He's a savage.
Well, are you guys you're going down to the Bellator fight, right? This kid who fights a Team, do you know Pat Casey?
I don't know.
This guy did. Scotty Tuhati. That's his name forever.
No, because he goes to my gym. He's actually a super nice kid, and I've seen his last couple of fights, and he
I honestly, I'm too old to give a fuck about Team Link versus FAA, even though we stomped them, but it doesn't matter.
I was at FAA today.
Oh shit!
Yeah, my kid started in the little toddler.
Is Jeremy still
there?
Oh,
he did?
No, I'm about to.
Oh, he's about to?
Yeah, I'm waiting for
So he's going to be there the same day as my kids there.
Was Jeremy there?
Saturday mornings. Yeah, 9:30. What? Jeremy's there every morning. Yeah.
Okay, tell him that I say he's the greatest.
Is this some inside joke?
Yeah, he'll know what I mean.
I love Jeremy. He's a super nice dude.
I hate him.
He's great.
I hate him so much. I mean, I love him.
One of the kid, he only missed 1 week, and you know that guy who trains at Fighting Arts Academy, who well, for people who are listening and like, what the fuck's Fighting Arts Academy? Well,
if you don't live in Western Mass, then,
they might know who Nick.
Sign off right now.
They might know who Nick Newell is, and he trained there.
Yeah.
So I mean,
he's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I would say he's a big deal. I mean, he was kind of the talk of the MMA world for a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's had some good fighters come out of there.
Yeah, I think he has. It's it's Western Massachusetts, so you're not going to get like a parade of highly talented athletes who want you to take them to the next level.
But why?
You know?
Could be anywhere.
That's kind of
No,
true.
I mean,
too.
if you're out of Boston, you're going to just get more people. You know, you're going to get.
Do you think it's a discipline issue? Like the people that he has.
No, I just think it's
like he has some talent.
just think
no, it's a
not
talent
volume.
pool issue. That's all it. I mean, like anything in life. I mean, how come more pro
Volume.
athletes don't come out of Western Mass? You know, look at all the kids who played at Springfield and all this other. And we've had one NBA player, Travis Best, and he played like in the 90s. So
Yeah.
I just think it's not as many people, so you don't have a chance as much talent
in the big
natural
cities.
talent, and that's where I was getting back to the point initially with the ultimate. With the UFC represents the highest level of mixed martial arts in the world. So these guys aren't just highly skilled; they're elite athletes most of the time. And so, so you can be a great coach and you can have a lot of skilled guys in your gym, but if ultimately it's skill meets athleticism, and if your athleticism is not at a particular level, then that's only is so far that you can get, really. I mean, if you look at American Top Team and all these other big times, schools, they're getting a steady flow of most likely Division I athletes and guys who are trying to cross over from other professional sports. So, it's just a talent pool thing. I mean, that's all it is.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, you have to take in consideration just the fact that you don't have as many people to pick from and many people coming in. And I mean, if you're the coach of a what the hell is this? Mixed martial arts school, the fact that you can kind of filter out the people who aren't as serious or don't seem like they have as much potential. And then I'm getting updates on social media. Yeah, I mean that's a big part. I mean, but he has had. I mean, people forget Justin Torrey fought in the Bellator tournament. I think I was there with you.
He got crushed.
He got crushed when? Because I was there when he won a couple fights.
He got smashed by the fuck is his name? He got beat up bad.
Really? In what, one of the main events or finals or something? Because I thought I was with you when we saw him fight in the Bellator tournament, and he did pretty well, and he was advancing or something.
Maybe he won the first round, but
No.
the next one.
But there is levels of this stuff. I mean, there is,
there certainly is. I mean, it'd be, I think sometimes the equivalent, and again, I think in the early days of mixed martial arts, I think there was a perception that, you joined a gym and you trained for a few years and you got good enough and you could make it to the highest level because maybe there wasn't as many athletes there. But I would say trying to get to the UFC today with, starting as an adult, just cold would be the equivalent of me picking up a baseball and, playing long toss with my buddy and being like, well, in 7 years, I'll be playing for the Red Sox. I mean, it's just not, it's just not that, it's not that practical anymore. I mean, look at Anderson Silva and Adesanya. I mean, these guys are extremely high level athlete. Look at what he did at 43. I mean, it's impressive, extremely impressive.
Yeah, just to survive the fight.
Yeah, I mean,
was a win for him. I mean, unless Anderson got knocked out, I feel like he couldn't lose the fight. The fact that you survived.
Brennan Ward, that's who Torrey lost to.
That name sounds familiar.
Brennan Ward. Yeah, he had a pretty long career in Bellator.
Well, Bellator has some good fighters. The problem is that they always try to headline
I think that Bellator is probably gonna overtake the UFC soon.
No,
I don't know, man.
I think so. I still think the UFC has so many stars, and
it's getting closer and closer. I feel like.
I don't know, man. I just think that they're still. I mean, they definitely have some good fighters. I mean, like we talked about Mousasi, McDonald, obviously being there.
I mean, those guys would probably be the
MVP Daly, who are fighting this, this coming up weekend.
Did McDonald beat Woodley, or did they? I don't know who won that fight.
It's a good question. Or did
Woodley beat Mousasi? No, McDonald.
That's a good question.
I know Musashi would be the 185-pound champ right now. I don't know who the 170-pound champ would be.
It's
Jones would beat Bader at 205. At heavyweight, I don't even know who the Cormier versus Bader. That'd be
Cormier.
Yeah.
Nobody's beating Cormier, and I don't think anybody in Bellator is fighting beating Jones.
155, and you go to I don't even know who the UFC champion right now is. Nurmagomedov or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it could be.
He beat Bellator 145. It'd be UFC 135. UFC.
I don't even know if it's about having
the
better
best champions.
Fighters. It's even if Bellator has a few
I
guys who are better, I mean, it's only a matter of time for their contracts run out and they sign with the UFC anyway. I mean, the UFC
I think competition's a good thing because these guys,
sure,
I mean, these guys are going to have the ability to actually negotiate, to have some pull. Because before, like, the UFC could offer you money and be like, oh, if you don't like it, too bad. Where are you going to go? And now
they can.
Yeah, they have an option. So I think that's great. I think Bellator just has a strategy of like, okay, let's get some of these better known names to fight just to kind of get people's eyes on the card.
Yep.
And I mean, even though some of the fights have been horrendous, it's kind of worked because a lot of us have tuned in, So we've still talked about how bad the fights are, which means that we're watching.
Yeah.
So if that means that maybe the main event sucked, but it got us to watch a guy like MVP or some of these other, real good fighters they have on there.
And that's really where Bellator needs to grow their strength is, growing your own stars.
Yeah.
Finding a way to get these guys to capture the imagination of mixed martial arts fans and the casual fan, more importantly, so that you can, grow your brand, because the UFC does a fantastic job of building stars. Ronda Rousey was a megastar. Conor McGregor, a megastar. At his height, George St. Pierre was close to a household name.
Yeah, Chuck Liddell.
The Ultimate Fighter, we know what that did. Bellator still hasn't had a moment where they built a star. Even Elite XC had Kimbo Slice.
Yeah. But Kimbo Slice kind of went in. They didn't build him. Like, he kind of made a name for himself with the internet.
Right.
But I kind of feel
his action figure. If you want to spend like $300, I'll sell it to you.
Now, does Bellator have anything like the UFC has for all those like behind the scene little shows on YouTube and all that stuff? Because I think that's a huge part of like getting to know. Because my wife, for example, if I can get her to watch one of the pre-fight shows and get to know the fighters and get to know their stories, you see the videos with them training, them with their families. All of a sudden, you get like emotionally attached a little bit, and you end up liking the person, and then you care much more about the fight. And it's like character development in a series or movie. It's the same thing.
And I think these guys
does Bellator do that? Do they have anything like that?
I would imagine they have some version of that, but I don't think they're as adept of it, as the UFC is. And the UFC strikes a great balance between building stars almost like you would in professional wrestling, where you take guys who the fans are excited about, and you try and find a matchup to kind of, put them over, sort of like they did with Adesanya tonight, where it's like, okay, if this were pro wrestling, he would have knocked Silva out, right? So that he could get that big victory. So I think, what the UFC has done a good job is taking their stars, giving them the right matchup so that they can keep moving up and sort of building their mystique. And where Bellator's struggle is they can't get out of the starting blocks. They can't get these guys to become get their names out there, I mean, and part of it is you're on deep cable. What's Bellator on? The Paramount Network?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That network's worth way more than the UFC's worth.
Right, which was Spike, right?
Yeah,
it was Spike.
So, I mean,
but there's way more money backing Bellator than there is to the UFC. So
not anymore.
Too.
With
not anymore.
No, with the WMB or whatever fuck they're called, like that's a huge ass corporation.
Yeah,
WMEC or
it's a different landscape now.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, they have their hands in like so many different things. I mean, but the other thing too is the UFC has gotten lucky with, okay, you have Fox picking up your sport, which makes it a little bit more legitimate because now you're on a network that has Champions League, that has all other legit sports, and a lot of sports fans kind of consider a legit sports channel. And then now you're on ESPN, so it's like, it's going to be hard to compete with that because the Paramount Network,
Very
like,
hard.
you got fucking Bar Rescue, and then you got Bellator. Like, what the fuck's on Paramount Network? Like, it's just not like,
I don't know.
it's almost like the UFC seems more legit of a sports organization, because they're on these channels that you almost put them side to side, like, oh shit, you got UFC, you got the Champions League, you have Spanish Premier, you have other sports on there, and now you're on ESPN. I mean, that's huge, man.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, how's Bellator gonna, I mean, everybody, whatever sport you watch, if it's fucking tennis, golf, everybody watches ESPN, and the only big sport they were missing was MMA. They, now they legitimately are gonna, I mean, they had the prelims on ESPN. That's fucking crazy. How many people are turning on ESPN just to see like the highlights of the basketball game or whatever, and now they're gonna see MMA. Like, Bellator is gonna, I think it's gonna be a huge hit to Bellator, because I just think it's gonna bring so many new but you know what, it might make some new MMA fans that end up being like, okay, well, now I'm not just specifically a UFC fan, but now I'm an MMA fan. Maybe I'll check out this other organization called Bellator. So, I mean, for the sport, I think it'll be good, because it is, for a while, it was considered like, human cockfighting. People didn't take it seriously. People thought it was too violent, and which is always hilarious to me, because you get way more head damage and long-term damage boxing, and that's completely okay. But MMA, because there's a little bit of blood, it's like, oh geez, it's so brutal. It's like sometimes, or you might see Damian Maia win a fight, which he did recently,
doesn't throw one strike
and doesn't get hit, and it's not violent at all, so it's
I think having multiple promotions is totally necessary, especially in mixed martial arts, because the UFC, in my opinion, does not practice in good faith with the fighters. There's antitrust lawsuit. I've heard some articles that have speculated that the split is it's not 50-50 between the promotion and the fighter. It's something like closer to 60-40, 70-30. So
it's
you need Bellator.
More like 90-10.
You need Bellator, you need ONE FC, you need all these other promotions, because the reality is, if the UFC was you can argue they're a monopoly now, but if they were a total monopoly, I'm talking nobody else out there, it'd be scary for these fighters to really see, what they could be making, because really the UFC takes care of their top fighters, and then they pit the fighters against each other with these, hidden bonuses in the locker rooms. And
well, the thing is, and how you can't even take them seriously anymore, because they'll do a interim belt just to sell pay-per-view, then they'll strip the belt or not give somebody oh boy, and then if everybody wants to meet at Ben's house to fight him, now would be the time, because he's a little stumbly. And but it gets to the point where it's all about selling pay-per-views and entertainment, and it's not. Where did he go? Oh, he went through here. And it's not about like keeping putting the best fighters against one another. It's not about that anymore. Like, the rankings are a joke. Like, everybody talks about how the rankings don't mean shit. The interim belts don't mean shit. Like, it's just one of those things where it's all about how do we, like, even I heard how DC, when DC fought Derek Lewis, I mean, that was kind of like, everybody knew the outcome of that fight. Like, Derek Lewis just had a fight, DC just had a fight not too long ago too, and it was all about just giving a main event to that fight, and it wasn't even a good main event, because Derek Lewis didn't really earn that fight. He had one of the most boring fights ever against Francis Ngannou. And you can make the argument that maybe if Francis didn't go out with that strategy, maybe that outcome would have been different.
Yeah.
And yet, like, they just put these fights together just to sell tickets.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too is, you make a good point, which is there's matchmaking to push the sport forward. Like, this guy deserves to fight this guy, so they should fight. And then there's what's going to make the most money. And the UFC, I think is always going to side with the dollar over the sport, because
and especially now with it's just such a big organization
yes.
who wants to see their huge investment pay off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the UFC was sold by the Fertitta sold the UFC at a huge profit, and the new owners want to see a return on that. So they're not going to care about who deserves to fight who, and this guy's got to wait. They want the pay-per-view dollars to come in. So if that means freak show fights, if that means pro wrestlers on the main card who've never fought before.
Oh, I know. And that's been look at the Ed Hardy fight. What was it, Ed Hardy?
Yeah.
Greg Hardy, Ed Hardy.
Yeah.
And one makes shitty shirts, the other guy's a shitty fighter. But you look at that like he should have never been in the main event, or the co-main event,
right?
Like Greg Hardy had no business being there. It was an awful fight. The CM Punk shit, same thing, horrendous. Like CM Punk, it was embarrassing to watch.
Yeah,
it was. Like as a guy who watched MMA, like if I was on the undercard, because I think Alistair Overeem was he got pushed down to I think he was on the prelims main event, and it's just like I'm like, wait, you got a fucking legend, a legit fighter on a prelims, and then you have fucking CM Punk against Michael Jackson, right. and who's never going to fight in the UFC again just because you're trying to make it's like they end up. It's funny because we're giving Bellator a hard time, but now just talking out loud, it's making me realize that I'm a little bit biased towards UFC, and I kind of give them a pass when they use a lot of the same techniques of trying to get eyes on their promotion. Like the same, you could make the same argument the same way that it's ridiculous. You can say, oh, it's stupid to have these old fighters fight each other in Bellator, to have Chael fight whoever, or Fedor still fighting or whatever. Like it's equally as stupid to have fucking CM Punk fight or Greg Hardy fight, right? Or sometimes you make a made up interim belt just because you don't have a main event or whatnot, and which doesn't mean anything, and just to sell pay-per-views and make the fight a little bit more meaningful.
And the UFC has a few different challenges, which one is the ownership needs to make good on their investment, and two, part of making good on that investment is they've stretched themselves. They've promised all these events to show on ESPN and all these other networks, and they have this they have spots they got to fill. So they got they got a bloated roster with a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but with fighters who probably aren't international level talent, and they're putting them on TV because they just got to fill the spots, and as long as the money's coming in. So I think the UFC, especially the last few years, has definitely prioritized, maximizing dollars over really moving the fight sport. Because if they were really concerned about the sport, they would be. There's fighters out there that they never even tried to go after that, were top, like Ben Askren. He should have been in the UFC a long time ago, and they didn't care about.
Well, look at Nick Newell. We were just talking about him. Like, you put fucking CM Punk in a fight, but you tell me Nick Newell doesn't deserve to be in the UFC.
Yep, that's an example of that. Then there's I was just thinking about they kicked out John Fitch when he was still like a top 5 guy. They just kicked him out because whatever, he didn't play by their rules or whatever. They've done that in the past too, where they've kicked out guys who were easily top 10 in the world just because they didn't like the style, or the guy was a pain in the ass or whatever. So it just happens, and the UFC can afford to do that because, again, they're so huge, they're so big, their name is synonymous with mixed martial arts, especially to I wouldn't even say casual fans, just people who don't know MMA. MMA and UFC are like the same thing, so it's really
when you're describing MMA, you're using UFC. Like, you're not. Usually it's one and the same. Like you said, it's when somebody's talking about, do you watch UFC? They're asking you, do you watch MMA?
Do you watch MMA?
Because
right, exactly.
it's like the only organization that matters.
Yep.
And I think it's definitely. I think getting Masasi and somebody like Rory McDonald, when you're getting guys who at the top of their careers and leaving, I think that's a huge plus for Bellator. I think when those guys talk about how much they like working for, I forget the owner, what's his name?
I can't recall.
Yeah, Matt Coker, Scott Coker, and he's back. He needed power nap.
Yeah, I've got maybe 10.
Yeah, no, but we can cut this. So I think the next one will be never.
Where's my headset? I don't even know.
You don't need it.
It's gone.
Is this? Oh, it's it right here.
Oh,
Right here to your left.
Is that mine?
Yeah. But I think the next one. We should think about doing one for well, actually, for a Bellator fight. The Ngannou fight. Is that the one that's on a Sunday? They have a UFC.
Yeah, that's next Sunday.
Next Sunday. Sunday's tough because you guys got to work Monday, right?
That's not gonna.
Oh no,
work.
it's President's Day Monday. Are you guys?
I don't have the day off.
I don't think I get that off either.
Damn communists. Then they have a ESPN Plus fight, the Santos fight. Oh, and Struve is on that card.
I'm sure it's going to use his jab.
I'm really disappointed with this UFC pay-per-view. It was
probably the weakest pay-per-view I've ever seen in my life, but that's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it was bad. Well, it was weak as far as star power goes. I didn't think the fights disappointed that much. I mean, there were some finishes there. So, you know, if you were looking for name recognition, it disappointed.
If you're looking for Anderson to suck, he did that.
But I thought we didn't talk about it, but the women's fight had some slick grappling and, pretty nice armbar in there.
Yeah, I mean, I watched. I mean, for the most part, I watch every pay-per-view, and there's been a lot of them that had very little star power, and I don't know who the guys are, and it ends up being a bunch of really fun fights and fun finishes. So yeah, the star power. I mean, it's great to kind of know who the guys are when they're fighting, but a lot of times, some of these guys who are up and coming and want to make a name for themselves, sometimes if you don't watch those fights, those are the fights that make where they end up getting the attention and getting some recognition when they end up surprising people. I mean, there's a lot of times the UFC will put an up and coming fighter against some old guy, and then that young guy beats the shit out of him. And you're like, oh, who the hell is this guy?
Right.
Interesting. But Ben, you wanna add anything before we cut this short? Scott was really quiet today. I spent all that.
I don't feel like I had a lot to add today,
dude. I spent all that.
Like
you know what pissed me off about Scott? I spent all that time trying to figure out how to fix his microphone, and he didn't say a fucking word all night.
I don't know, man. Maybe they forced too many. I don't know.
Forced too many what?
Forced too many what?
For this conversation.
No, I don't.
Maybe 3's good. I don't know.
Well, no. This is the problem. Is that usually these things are fucking super long, right? So like having more guys are good because nobody has to feel like, okay, I have to fill empty space. Somebody constantly has something to say to fill it. Today, the pay-per-view flew by because
yes, that's
like,
true.
It was so short. I'm like, dude, it's usually we're like, it's the end of the pay-per-view and we're like hammered and tired and we're like, I just want to go to bed. And today we're like, oh, it's over. Like, yeah, we could talk for a little bit longer.
Not that many fights.
Yeah. Dude, I was really looking forward to that Whitaker Calvin fight too.
I feel like I had a lot more to say, but like there's just too many of us. That's all.
Well, Scott didn't say a damn thing.
I always looked at him and he looked like he had something to say, so I was like, speak. And then he didn't say anything.
And you talked, but not into the microphone.
No, I never talked into the microphone, and I always passed to Vinny.
Giving the assist because you're such a good point guard.
Like next time, I'm just gonna speak to myself. But this is UFC broadcast 2000.
Well, it was unfair because me and Vinny got in a whole talking about the kids thing, and I kind of felt badly.
I could jump in, but I would be totally talking out of my ass.
XO facto. One day you're gonna make a great dad, and you'll get what me and Vinny are talking about.
I hear people say that, so I mean that's a good thing, I guess. Instead of them being like, I'm afraid for you to be a father. That would be a shitty thing for people.
Why would anybody say that to you?
Yeah, they definitely say behind your back. If they say it to you, that makes them even shittier people.
Like, you're gonna be a terrible father,
and we're so afraid that we're gonna tell you. But
I've never heard that. To my face or behind my back, I haven't heard that, so that's good.
Dude, I'm sure, you know, everybody listening to this who has kids is going to say the same thing. It's one of those things you can't really describe, so it's not worth trying to. It really is like you almost have to go through it to understand what it's like. It's almost like somebody who's been through like, you know, a war, a military, Vietnam. Like they could sit here, we could do a 5-hour podcast and then try to explain to me what they went through, and I still wouldn't have a serious grasp of how traumatizing it is, or you know, how it changes you. And well, you know what's weird is the people that it doesn't change. Like the people, like
That's a good point.
It doesn't change everybody. And when I meet people who don't want to spend time with their kids and would rather be, I know people. I'm not going to say names, but I know people who legitimately have said like, "Oh, I'd rather be at work than at home because home's chaos." And I'm like,
I've heard that before. I've heard people say that before, and I'm like,
what's wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong? Like, you don't want to be around your kids and your family. Like, okay, I get your wife because, you know, I don't, you know.
No, I get that.
It's not just specifically because it's a female thing. I'm just saying significant others, you spend a lot of time together. Sometimes you can butt heads, but to spend time with your kids, like it's, I don't know, man. I can't spend enough time with my kids. I
completely agree with that. I think I've heard, and I really don't have much to add because I've heard people say exactly what you're talking about.
Now, does it affect your opinion on them? Because to me, a small part of me is like, I just don't like this person now, or I don't like them as much, like, because it just, and then I'm like, wait, what if, like, does it affect our relationship? No, not really, but it's kind of a reflection of their character, their personality, totally. And I'm like, there's just something about people who are like that for some reason just turns me off. Like I like, as a parent, like when I see, like, even when I see McGregor, it sounds just, you know, silly, and see him spending time with his kid, or if I watch a movie and I see somebody, or like some type of, you know, anything where somebody's spending time with their family, and you know, it hits a soft spot. It's like, you know, it's like there's some respect I have for like a mother or a father who loves their family and spends time with their family. And because it's like I can relate to that. I can't relate to somebody who you know, just wants to have kids and then, you know, like let somebody else raise them, you know.
Well, I think it's a sort of, it's not just the selfishness. There's certainly selfishness there. It's also this sort of like, what is dead inside of you that you can't feel, you know, what I'm feeling. You know what I mean? I mean, there's something broken, at least I feel like, in those people. I mean,
I'm curious to know if, like, if you did a little research on their history and their upbringing, if maybe they lack some emotion and some connection with their parents. But the only thing I can say is, like, you know, I can't even use that as an excuse, because my parents are old school Portuguese, and like my parents never said I love you. They never hugged me. They never, like, their way of showing, you know, appreciation or showing love or affection was, you know, putting food on the table. My dad worked. I mean, that was kind of what they did. Like, I'm much more affectionate with my kids. And like, I remember telling my wife once, I'm like, I told my kids that I love them more in the first day of their lives than my parents did my whole life, you know. And it doesn't mean that, you know, they probably didn't love me. It's the fact that they, you know, their parents were the same way. And so they, you know, you're a creature of your environment. You learn from your surroundings, and, you know, that's the way they thought it was to parent. And I think now it's, I think, a lot more acceptable for males to be hands-on to, and I think it's a good thing. I think a lot of it's because, like, it was looked at as, oh yeah, this is the male's job is to pay the bills and whatever, and the fee. But I think once you realize, like, you know, it's not so much I want to push this responsibility on my wife. It's more about the fact that, like, now that I get to experience it and I get to, you know, have this connection with my kids, I almost feel like other dads have missed out. Like, you missed out on all these amazing experiences of, like, your kids being super excited to see you, having this incredible connection. And, you know, like, I mean, my kids, I don't know. I think if I focus more on work and focus less on being a part of, you know, their upbringing, I wouldn't have the same connection. And I'd probably look back one day and regret it. And I would, I mean, I'd be missing out on these. I mean, just, I don't know how your kids are, but I'm sure, like, you probably have one of them super funny that's always making you laugh at, and it just, like, the times you're giggling, and, like, it just, I don't know, it's just those simple things that just are so much fun. And I'm like, I'm so glad that I've decided to be a part of this and experience this, and not just, you know.
I think part of it too is At least for me, it's, yeah, I'm getting a lot out of it, of course, but you know, they deserve it. And why would I deprive them of something they deserve, that they need? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm so for me, it's I don't know. I mean, it's hard to, again, I think you said this, you know, it is hard to explain, but it's like, you know, they deserve that. And
well, the other thing too is that
that's what you should do. So.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing too is there's something about like, okay, so this life comes to this earth, and like their only chance of survival is you. You know, like if you give up on them, nobody else is going to change your diaper, nobody else is going to feed them, nobody else is going to take care of them. Like their only chance, and that creates a connection. That creates a connection because there's this dependence and there's sense of security that they get from you. And like, you know, they talk about how, like when kids are born, like the only fear they have is like to be being dropped. You know, that's why they love being held. Yeah. You know, and like this, and there's this sense of security. And they've done studies where they've to kind of see the importance of security and comfort and connection, where they've I think they like starved some type of primate, a monkey or whatever it was, and they starved it, and they took it away from its mother. They had like these two cages where one of them had food and the other one had like the stuffed animal that looked like its mother, and to see what was more important when it was starving, like was it the food or was the comfort that it was missing from the mother, and it would go to the mother. And wow. even when it was starving, and it was basically kind of just showing the importance of comfort and security, and how important that connection is with your parents, and like that comfort you give them. And you know, that's like I did a podcast with I forget what her name is, the professor of psychology at Notre Dame, and she's written a bunch of books on parenting, and like has like tons of research on it. And I had her on because she just like super smart when it comes down to this stuff, and just kind of, I don't know, pick at her brain and learn and see if I can learn anything. I'll send you the podcast. It's super interesting. And like she has all these studies about like the whole let the kids cry it out bullshit, how like you can have like long-term trauma because of it, like because the fact that like that kid is crying because it's afraid, and you letting it cry it out would be like the equivalent of putting somebody who's afraid of spiders in a room with spiders and saying just wait till they're done screaming.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's that type of trauma, you know. Wow. Because that child doesn't know when you leave the room that you're coming back. It thinks you're gone forever. You know, you're what makes it feel safe and secure, you know. Like all these studies that show that like the way that it's almost like going back to our primitive ancestors, like, you know, and this goes back to like the keto diet or all this stuff. There's something that like I almost feel like we thought that like we keep progressing, but we've almost got to the point where we're so far from where we probably should be, that now we almost have to take steps backwards and be like, okay, actually we had it right and we didn't have to keep changing it. Like, and I think when it came down to parenting, like, you know, the whole saying, it takes a tribe, and like the community would be a part, like you always had aunts and grandparents, everybody was involved in the kid's life. And now it's like, you're raised by fucking daycare. You're raised by, you don't have anybody who loves you or anybody who's family or close to your family, you know, being a huge influence in your life. You're raised by strangers, who, you know, and that's a huge problem. The whole holding a child, like they talk about how, oh, you shouldn't hold a kid too much. Like that's all bullshit too. Like you can't hold a kid enough.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, like the way I look at it, like my son's, you know, turning 4 and he still likes to be held. And my mom's always like, oh, it's all because you always held him anytime you wanted and blah, blah. I'm like, one day, I'm like, do you think he wants to be held forever? I'm like, you think one day you don't?
He's 4, you know. I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm like, one day he won't want to be held by me. He won't want to be seen with me, and I won't be cool dad at all. So I'm like, I'm milking the shit out of it while I can, and I'm gonna keep milking it. So
let's stop pushing these kids to grow up before they're ready. Like they're 4. We don't need to worry about how tough they're gonna be.
That's a really good point.
Just let them be.
They're
children.
Fucking kids, man. And like even with all the pressure they put on parents with like, oh, is your kid saying this many words at this age, and are your kids walking at this age? Or I'm like, you think when we're growing up or when our parents were growing up, like they were concerned if we weren't like saying this many words? Like nobody kept track of that shit. I'm like, and I'd love to see the statistics, which don't exist, that show that like, okay, the kids who said this many words at 1 are now in Harvard, and all the kids who didn't say that many words at 1 are, you know, are in jail, in prison. You know, like you're telling me you have your whole fucking life to eventually catch up or whatever. You know, you don't know what sparks your creativity or what special talent you might have that you only discover later in life. Like, you know, like all these little things that these parents are freaked out about, but a lot of it's because they want to, oh, let's bring them to a specialist, let's do this. It's just want to milk the shit out of your insurance. It's like, let's bring them to a specialist, let's do this, let's do that. It's like, oh, your kid's not talking yet, oh, let's bring them to let's get a speech therapist, let's do this, and it always makes you wonder, like, okay, well, they're charging my insurance, like, is it really necessary? And they're, they always sell you by saying, well, it's free. Yeah, it's free because the insurance has to pay for it, which means you're ripping off the insurance, and then the insurance rips me off, and it's just this vicious cycle. But yeah, I think that's so important. Like, let kids be kids. Like, there's no need to make them grow up so quickly. And once you become an adult, like, you miss simpler life. I think we're designed to deal with physical stress, the working out, the training, but we're not designed to deal with all the mental stress of the modern day. And it just, you could see how people who are really run down mentally, like, they look old, they feel old, they it stays with them, it affects them much more than somebody who, you have a really tough workout, you feel good. It's almost like your body's designed for it, but if you have a really tough mental workout, you're like, leave me the fuck alone, I'm drained. I just don't think we're designed for that. And so yeah, I mean, whatever my point was, it was lost a long time ago. But anyways, guys, thanks for listening. We'll get together for another one soon enough.
In like 11 or 12 months. It's cool.
Yeah, in 11, 12. Well, I think we have to get a little drunker next time, and maybe start drinking a little earlier. I mean, well, the flow of the podcast.
The podcast. Yeah.
Well, I fucked up.
We'll get everything set up, and then we'll get really drunk, and then we'll start the podcast.
Usually you guys get here a little earlier. We hang out a little bit. Today was a giant fuck up because all the scattering around trying to get the microphones to work, I think, kind of ruined a better flow into the podcast.
Scott's really sexy beard. He's very concerned about everybody's tweets.
I know he was reading the comments.
Like, I'm gonna follow this motherfucker home.
I can't bust his balls because when I first started my podcast, the first couple years, like, I remember every time somebody had a comment on YouTube,
I literally couldn't give a flying fuck less.
I would quickly read it. I would constantly check my download numbers, like, oh, where am I getting downloaded? How many downloads is this? And then it gets to a point where we're just like, you know what, do what you enjoy, and just everything else will fall in place. And there's always going to be somebody who has an issue. But it is one of those things too, is like, I wonder how much of the people who are running into this, like, I feel like my download numbers, those are people who subscribe to the show on Spotify, Google Play, all that stuff. So they're gonna like the show. They're gonna probably not have anything negative to say. But a lot of people on YouTube, you figure there's probably just people who are searching YouTube for a live stream, looking for some posts or pre-fight conversation, and they're not necessarily like fans of the show, or there might be just fucking people who like to go around just writing shitty things. So it's like, why stress about it?
I don't know. Is there any people that send you, like, I mean, we could, if somebody's sending you a bunch of questions, we could just go through them on the podcast.
Yeah, well, I think next time we'll see how this goes. Cool. But next time, what I'll probably do,
like, ideas or topics, we could discuss them, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I
otherwise we're gonna just freeform the shit out of it, which means we're just gonna drink a lot of whiskey.
Well, we could do that. I mean, I did think about, like, kind of using this, because I don't do any live shows besides these, using this as a way to get the fans to interact with the show, so it's one of those, it would be an opportunity to do that, like, have, like, hey, if you have any questions, while we're live streaming, hit us up on YouTube or tweet us or whatever, and then we can answer them. And that way it's a way of getting the fans to interact with the show. And because usually if I have a guest on, I don't do them live, and I don't like interacting. Well, one thing, I don't do it live because I never know if the guests, what's going to happen with the guests. Sometimes, you start recording, they're like, oh, can you start over? Or this doesn't sound right. Can we start recording again? Or very few times I've had guests say, oh, do you mind cutting out that part or something like that? So it's just like, so I don't stream live, but yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get people if they want to ask questions or comment or whatever, then
I mean, this is pretty free form.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like doing these, because these are very casual and I don't have to do any work. It's just hang out, talk. We're basically doing the same thing we would be doing if we're at any one of our houses watching the fights. We're just recording it
without the microphone and the headset.
Yeah.
Yep.
But thanks again, guys, for listening. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We will keep you notified on when the next one is. Maybe we'll do a Bellator.
2025.
Maybe we'll do we'll do a Bellator or ESPN Plus or something. But we'll do hopefully a better card, because this one was a little weak, but not too much star power. But they have a bunch of good ones coming up. So we'll pick one. We'll keep you notified. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, and I'll share the link sooner. And I promise I will figure out the technical difficulties prior to the show next time, so we don't have these setbacks. So thanks again, guys. Good night, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.